Which room is he in? Claire went quiet long enough for me to hear a cart rattle past her and someone announce a last name over an intercom. I'm not asking what the doctors said, I told her. I'm asking for Daniel's room number. Elaine, mothers wait for updates. I'm his wife. I need to focus on him. Then she hung up. I stood in my kitchen holding Daniel's phone charger in one hand and the blue wool socks he always stole from my house in the other. On the counter, my purse lay open beside a banana, 2 bottles of water, and the medication list my son had once asked me to keep in case I get hit by a bus. He had not been hit by a bus. He had collapsed at work almost 5 hours earlier. For 3 of those hours, nobody had told me. Now he was somewhere inside St. Matthew's Hospital, and his wife had decided I belonged in the same category as neighbors and former co-workers. I drove there anyway. The woman at the information desk wore purple glasses and had the patient expression of someone who had already explained the same rule 100 times that day. "I'm sorry," she said. "Mr. Mercer is listed as private. I'm his mother. I understand." "No, I don't think you do." Her face changed by half an inch. Not irritation exactly. Preparation. His room number can only be released to his designated contact. "And that is?" "I can't provide any additional information." We stared at each other across a counter decorated with a bowl of plastic peppermints. I had known Daniel for 44 years. I knew he slept with one foot outside the blanket. I knew he hated pears but would eat pear pie if you called it apple. I knew he rubbed the side of his thumb whenever he was trying not to admit he was scared. But at St. Matthew's, I did not know what floor he was on. The woman slid a peppermint toward me as if I might be a difficult child who could be redirected with sugar. I don't want that. "All right. I'm sorry. That came out rude. It's all right." "It isn't. My son had some kind of heart emergency, and his wife won't tell me where he is." Her eyes softened, but her hands stayed folded. "You can have a seat. If the designated contact comes down, she can bring you up." There it was again. Designated contact, a phrase clean enough to make blood disappear. I took my bags to the waiting area and sat beneath a television showing a home renovation program with captions. A cheerful couple argued silently about kitchen tile, while a man across from me slept with his arms crossed over a brown winter coat. My phone showed 11:47 p.m. Claire's first message had come at 9:06. Daniel had a cardiac event at work. He is stable. I will update everyone when I know more. Everyone. I had called before I finished reading. Claire answered on the 5th ring, sounding breathless and offended, as if I had caught her sprinting. "What happened? We don't know everything yet. Is he conscious? He's with the doctors. What does that mean? Is he conscious? They did a procedure." "What procedure?" "Elaine, I can't do this right now." The fear in her voice should have made me gentler. I knew that even then. Claire was frightened too. She was also the only person who knew anything, and instead of opening the door 1 inch, she planted both feet against it. I lowered my voice. "Tell me the hospital." She did. "Which room is he in?" That was when she told me what mothers did. At 11:51, I texted her. "I'm downstairs." I brought his charger, socks, and medication list. "Please let me know when I can see him." The message showed delivered, not read. I set my purse on the chair beside me and checked that I still had the charger. It was ridiculous, but I kept checking, as if the cord were my proof that I had a reason to be there. Daniel had left it at my house the previous Sunday. He'd come over to fix a cabinet hinge and ended up making it worse. "You have to stop buying hardware from estate sales," he'd said, lying on my kitchen floor with a screwdriver between his teeth. The hinge wasn't from an estate sale. The cabinet was. The woman was moving to Arizona. "That's still an estate sale, Mom. It was indoors." He laughed so hard he dropped one of the screws. Claire called while he was still looking for it, and his whole manner shifted. Not badly, just quickly. He stood, wiped his hands on his jeans, and said, "Yeah, I'm leaving now." I had not asked him to stay. I had not asked why he sounded like a man caught somewhere he should not be. Before leaving, He plugged his phone into the outlet beside my toaster and forgot the cord. I had noticed it after dinner and wrapped it neatly around the adapter. Daniel had 3 more at home. Still, I put it near the front door because he always came back for what he forgot. That was the kind of certainty I had about him then. The waiting room doors opened and a woman in blue scrubs called, "Mercer family?" I stood so fast my purse fell over. The banana rolled underneath my chair. "I'm Elaine Mercer." The woman looked at a clipboard. "Are you Claire?" "No, I'm Daniel's mother." "Oh." She checked the clipboard again, as though I might have become Claire while she was looking down. "I need to speak with his wife. She's upstairs." "All right, I'll find her." "Can you tell me if he's okay?" The woman gave me an apologetic smile. "His provider will update the authorized family member. I am family." The smile stayed, but the conversation ended. She disappeared through the doors. The sleeping man across from me opened one eye. "Bad night?" he asked. "My son's upstairs." He nodded like that explained everything. Maybe it did. My brother, too. What happened? He tried to clean his gutters in the dark. I stared at him. Says daylight makes him dizzy. Despite myself, I laughed. It came out thin and strange. The man leaned forward. "You want me to get that banana for you?" "No, thank you. It's making a break for the elevators." I bent down and reached beneath the chair. My fingers touched the banana just as my phone vibrated. I hit my head on the metal armrest coming back up. A message from Claire. "Please go home. He needs rest." I read it twice. "Can I see him for 1 minute?" The typing bubbles appeared, vanished, then appeared again. "Not tonight." I called Ruth. My sister answered in the thick voice she used when dragged out of sleep. Who died? Nobody. That is not how you start a midnight call. Daniel's in the hospital. She was awake immediately. What happened? I told her what I knew, which took less than 30 seconds. And Claire won't let you see him. She says he needs rest. Well, he can rest while you look at him. That's what I thought. "Do you want me to come?" "No, you hate hospitals. I hate ferrets too. But if Daniel was trapped under one, I'd show up." I looked down at the bags around my feet. "I'm going to wait." "Good." Claire told me to go home. Claire once told me paprika was spicy. She was 26. She had fully developed taste buds. I smiled, then covered my mouth because the sound that came out was too close to crying. Ruth's voice softened. "Do you know he's stable?" That's what she said. "Then stay where you are. Don't fight anybody. Don't get yourself escorted out. I have never been escorted out of anywhere. You were removed from that garden club meeting. I left voluntarily. 2 women held the doors open. They were being polite." Ruth let me sit in silence for a moment. She knew better than to fill every empty space. Finally, she said, "Call me when you see him. I will. And eat the banana." "How did you know I brought a banana? You always pack for emergencies like you're waiting for a delayed flight." After we hung up, I placed the banana on top of my purse where I could keep an eye on it. The television couple chose white tile. I disliked it on principle. At 12:34, a group message appeared on my phone. Claire had sent it to 11 people, including Daniel's college friend Owen, Claire's sister, 2 neighbors, and someone listed only as Beth Pilates. Daniel's procedure went well. He has been moved out of immediate recovery and is resting. Doctors are optimistic, but he will need close monitoring. Thank you for your prayers, and please give us privacy tonight. I was not included in the group. Owen forwarded it to me with a question mark. I called him. "Mrs. Mercer," he said. "I thought you'd want to see that. I'm at the hospital. You're there?" Apparently in a decorative capacity. He did not laugh. Owen had known Daniel since they were 19 and still called me Mrs. Mercer, even though I had asked him not to for 25 years. "Do you know what happened?" he asked. "No." Claire said heart attack. "To you?" In the first text. I closed my eyes. "Maybe she thought Daniel already called you," he said. "Daniel had an emergency procedure." "Right. That was stupid. Sorry, it was kind. Do you want me to come down there? What would you do?" I don't know. Be tall? Owen was 6'4" and had always regarded height as a practical skill. No, stay home. I'll call when I know something. Afterward, I opened my messages with Daniel. The last one was from Tuesday. Do you still have Dad's small socket set? I had replied, yes. He had sent a thumbs up. No heart, no thank you. Just a yellow thumb floating in a white bubble. It had not bothered me at the time. Ordinary love is full of unfinished conversations. I typed, I'm downstairs. I love you. The message did not deliver. For a terrible second, I thought his phone had gone dead because he had. Then I remembered the charger in my hand. At 1:15, the information desk woman disappeared through a side door and returned with a paper cup of coffee. She looked at me, looked away, then walked over. I can't release information, she said quietly. But the overnight cafeteria closes at 2. I'm not hungry. They have better chairs down there. Thank you. She nodded toward my bags. Do you want me to watch those while you use the restroom? No. The answer came too quickly. Her eyebrows lifted. I mean, thank you, but I'm fine. She returned to her desk. I had begun treating kindness like another attempt to move me. At 1:42, the elevator opened and Claire stepped out. She wore black leggings, Daniel's gray sweatshirt, and no coat. Her blonde hair, usually clipped into a smooth twist, hung over one shoulder in a loose knot. There was a rust-colored stain on the cuff of the sweatshirt. For one wild moment, I thought it was blood. Then I recognized the mark from the tomato soup Daniel had spilled at my house 2 winters earlier. I had tried 3 different stain removers. Claire had complained that he kept the sweatshirt because it was basically ruined, and Daniel had winked at me behind her back. Seeing her in it now hurt in a place I could not name. Claire stopped several feet away. I told you to go home. I stood. How is he? He's stable. Is he awake? On and off. Did he ask for me? Her face moved before her answer did. He's exhausted. That isn't what I asked. She rubbed both hands over her face. Her wedding ring caught the hospital light. Elaine. He had a heart attack. They took him in for an emergency catheterization. There was a blockage. They put in a stent. I have been answering questions and signing things and trying to keep track of 3 different doctors. I cannot also manage you. The word manage landed harder than it should have. I'm not asking you to manage me. I'm asking to see my son. He doesn't need more stress. Do I stress him? Everyone stresses him right now. Owen knew it was a heart attack before I did. Claire's eyes sharpened. Owen should not have forwarded that message. So that's the problem? The problem is that nothing I do tonight is going to be enough for you. She looked exhausted enough to fold in half. I almost reached for her. My hand actually lifted before I curled it around the strap of the nearest bag. I brought his things, I said. Her gaze dropped. His charger. Socks. The medication list. I already gave the hospital his medications. He asked me to keep this. He probably forgot. I held out the paper anyway. It was folded in quarters, with Daniel's name written across the front in my careful block letters. Claire took it, then the charger, then the socks. For a few seconds, we stood there connected by the ordinary objects my son had left in my care. Can I come up for 1 minute? I asked. Not tonight. Will you tell him I'm here? Claire looked toward the elevators. I'll tell him you brought his things. The doors opened. She stepped inside, holding everything against Daniel's stained sweatshirt. I watched the numbers rise above the elevator until they stopped on 5. That was how I learned what floor my son was on. 5. I stood in front of the elevator after the doors closed and stared at the number. There were probably 50 rooms on the 5th floor, maybe more. Cardiac care might have its own locked doors, and even if it didn't, I had no intention of wandering the halls like a woman looking for an unattended purse. Still, I pressed the call button. The elevator returned empty. I stepped inside and looked at the glowing 5. My hand hovered near it. The information desk woman watched me from across the lobby. She did not call security. She did not have to. I pressed L. When the doors reopened, She looked down at her computer with such deliberate concentration that I loved her a little. I moved to a different chair. The man with the gutter-cleaning brother had gone. Someone had taken my banana. At 2:18, Claire sent me a message. "He's sleeping. Vitals are stable. Please go home and get some rest." I typed, "Can you call if anything changes?" She answered with a thumbs up. I stared at that yellow thumb until it became one more thing I resented Daniel for without his knowledge. The cafeteria had stopped serving food, but the coffee machine was still on. I bought a cup and carried it to a booth beside a fake ficus with dust on its leaves. The coffee tasted like the inside of a thermos. I drank it anyway. At 3:30, a custodian began cleaning the floor around me. He was a slim man with silver hair and a green cloth tucked into his back pocket. "You don't have to move," he said. "I'm in your way. I have many ways." He steered the mop around my shoes. "My son is on 5, I told him. "Cardiac? I think so." He nodded. "Good nurses up there. Do you know any of them?" "I know they leave coffee cups everywhere." He wrung out the mop, then leaned on the handle. "First night?" "Yes. First night is always the longest, even when it isn't." I did not know what that meant, but it comforted me. By 4, the coffee had turned my empty stomach sour. I returned to the lobby and sat beneath the television. The renovation couple had been replaced by a man selling a pan that could supposedly cook an entire breakfast without using oil. My phone rang at 4:27. I answered before it finished the first vibration. "Claire? It's me," Daniel said. For a moment, I could not speak. His voice was thin and scraped raw, but it was his, not a nurse, not a message forwarded through 11 people in Beth Pilates. "Oh, honey." "I'm okay." I shut my eyes. "Are you in pain?" "No, not really. They gave me stuff." "What kind of stuff?" A small laugh caught in his throat. "Mom." I'm allowed one medical question. I've been very restrained. "I heard you're downstairs." The words made me sit straighter. "Claire told you? She said you brought my charger. And your socks." "Blue ones?" "Yes. You're my favorite parent. I'm your only living parent. Still counts." He sounded so much like himself that I nearly missed the effort underneath it. Each sentence came with a pause, as though he had to wait for the next breath to arrive. "Can I come up?" I asked. "Not now." The answer was immediate. I opened my eyes. "Why?" "I look terrible. I changed your diapers. I'm hanging up." I'm sorry. That was cheap." He breathed into the phone. "Daniel? I'm here. Are you scared?" Another pause. Longer this time. "I'm tired." I pressed my knuckles against my mouth. "All right," I said. "Then sleep. I'll stay down here." "No, go home. I'm fine." "Mom." "What, please?" His thumb would be moving. I knew it. Rubbing the same nervous spot along the side until the skin went pale. "Did Claire ask you to call me?" "She said you wouldn't leave." "That wasn't my question. I wanted to call." Both things could be true. That was the trouble with Daniel. He could arrange the truth so nobody had to be lying. "Get some sleep," he said. "I'll see you tomorrow." "Promise?" "Yes." "I love you." "Love you too." The call ended before I could ask what time. I remained in the chair for several minutes with the phone against my ear. Then I packed my empty water bottles into my purse because apparently my manners survived even when the rest of me did not, and went to the parking garage. The sky beyond the concrete openings had started turning gray. My car was parked crooked between 2 lines. I had no memory of doing that. At home, I left my purse on the kitchen floor. The outlet beside the toaster was empty. A few crumbs lay where Daniel's charger had been. I wiped them away with my palm and stood there until the room began to brighten. Sleep came in pieces. I woke at 7, convinced someone had knocked on the front door. At 8:13, I woke because the furnace clicked off. At 9, Ruth called. "Have you seen him?" "Not yet. You stayed all night?" "Most of it." "Did you eat?" "Someone stole my banana." "From the hospital?" "From under my chair." That is the most hospital thing I've ever heard. I sat up and touched the tender spot where I had hit my head. He called me. Ruth went quiet. How did he sound? Like Daniel. That isn't what I asked. Tired? Scared? He said tired, which means scared. Probably. Ruth sighed. I can drive you back. I can drive myself. You parked across your lawn after Dad's funeral? I did not. One tire was in the flower bed. That was an unusual day. So is this. I looked through the bedroom doorway at the blouse I had worn the day before, hanging from the back of a chair. The cuff had a brown ring from hospital coffee. I'm going to shower, I said. Call me before you leave. I'm 68, Ruth, and yet still capable of operating a phone. While I showered, I imagined Daniel's room. I could see every version except the real one. Machines beside his bed, white tape on his arm, his face gray against the pillow. I washed my hair twice because I could not remember doing it the first time. At 10:22, Claire texted, "Doctor is rounding and Daniel needs uninterrupted rest. No visitors this morning. I'll let you know about this afternoon." I stood in my bathrobe reading the message while water dripped from my hair onto the floor. I called her. She declined the call. A second message arrived. "Can't talk." I wrote, "Daniel told me I could see him today." 3 dots appeared. "I know. We'll figure out a good time." I almost asked who we meant. Instead, I dressed in navy pants and the green cardigan Daniel once said made me look like a librarian who solved murders. Then I waited. Waiting at home was worse. At the hospital, at least I could imagine that each set of footsteps belonged to someone coming to get me. At home, the refrigerator hummed, the clock moved, and every object stayed where I had left it. I folded a load of towels that did not need folding. I made toast and let it cool untouched. I opened the medication cabinet and saw the bottle of antacids Daniel kept there because he complained I never stocked snacks for men over 40. He had mentioned indigestion the previous Sunday. The thought arrived so suddenly I had to grip the counter. He had been kneeling in front of the cabinet when he stopped and pressed a fist to his chest. "Heartburn," he said. "You don't get heartburn." I'm expanding my range. I had offered him an antacid. He chewed 2 and drank half a glass of milk. Now I replayed that moment until I could no longer tell what I had actually seen. Had he gone pale? Had he been sweating? Had his left hand trembled, or was I giving the past details it had not earned? I called Owen. "Did Daniel complain about chest pain at work?" "Not to me," he said. "We don't work together." "I know that." "All right, I'm sorry, I forgot who knows what." He texted me Monday about feeling wiped out. "What did you tell him?" "That he's old." "Owen." "So am I. It was a joke." "What else?" "He said Claire was making him schedule a physical. I told him she was right." That surprised me. Claire and I had once spent an entire Thanksgiving disagreeing over whether Daniel's cough needed a doctor. She had said he was an adult and could make his own appointments. I had said adults died every day while meaning to call on Monday. Did he schedule it? I asked. I don't know. When we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and looked at Daniel's place, though he had not lived in my house for 22 years. At 1:06, Claire called. "You can come at 2, she said, "but only for 10 minutes. Why 10? Because he gets tired. Did a doctor say 10? I'm not arguing about minutes, Elaine. I'll be there. And please don't question him about what happened. He needs to stay calm." What am I allowed to say? That's not what I meant. It sounded exactly like what you meant. Claire exhaled. Behind her, a machine chimed. "I haven't slept," she said. "I'm trying to keep everything under control. I'm not asking you to control everything. Yes, you are. You just don't call it that." Before I could answer, she said, 2:00, and hung up. Ruth drove me. She ignored my objections, arrived at 1:30, and took my keys out of my hand. "You look awful," she said. I showered. So did the Titanic. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to. Give me your purse. At the hospital entrance, Ruth squeezed my arm. "I'll wait here," she said. "You don't have to. I've committed to the chair." This time, Claire was waiting by the information desk. She had changed into jeans and a cream sweater, but the same loose knot held her hair. "You told them I'm coming?" I asked. "Yes." The woman in the purple glasses gave me a small smile. I wanted to tell her I had earned clearance, but that would have been embarrassing for both of us. In the elevator, Claire pressed 5. "He's doing better," she said. "The cardiologist is pleased." "Which cardiologist?" "Dr. Patel." "What did he say?" "That Daniel was lucky." The word opened a cold space inside me. Claire continued before I could ask. "The blockage was significant, but they restored blood flow quickly. His heart function looks good. They want to monitor him another day or two." "Why didn't you tell me that last night?" "I didn't know all of it last night. You knew it was a heart attack." The elevator doors opened. "Please," she said. "Not in his room." The cardiac floor smelled like sanitizer and burnt coffee. Claire led me past a nurse's station, around a cart stacked with folded sheets, and stopped outside room 518. Through the partly open door, I saw the blue socks first. They were folded on the visitor's chair. Daniel lay propped against white pillows with wires disappearing under his gown. Purple bruising marked the inside of his right wrist. His face looked both older and younger, stripped of every expression he used to reassure other people. When he saw me, his mouth trembled. "Hey, Mom." I crossed the room before Claire could remind me about the 10 minutes. Daniel reached out. His hand was warm, but his grip had no strength in it. I kissed his forehead, and for a few seconds, neither of us made a joke. Then he said, "You brought the ugly socks. You love those socks. I tolerate them because you're old. I could take them back." "No, you couldn't." He was right. I sat beside him. Claire remained standing on the other side of the bed with one hand resting on the rail. I asked Daniel if he was in pain. "Not much," Claire answered. I asked whether he had eaten. "They have him on a cardiac diet," Claire said. I asked what the doctor had told him. "He needs rest," Claire said. Daniel closed his eyes. "Claire," I said carefully, "I'm asking Daniel." His eyes opened again. "It's okay." "No, honey, I want to hear you." He looked from me to his wife. His thumb began rubbing the side of his index finger. "Claire's had a rough couple of days," he said. "Can you just cooperate with her for me?" I felt his hand inside mine, warm and familiar. "Of course," I said. It was what he needed me to say. So I said it. Claire glanced at the clock on the wall. I almost laughed. I had been in the room for 3 minutes. Daniel must have seen something in my face because he squeezed my hand or tried to. "How's the cabinet?" "Still crooked. I told you the wood is warped." "You made it worse. That's what you get for hiring family. I didn't hire you. You came for Dad's socket set and started criticizing my hinges." Claire lowered herself into the chair with the blue socks. Instead of moving them, she sat on them. She looked too tired to notice. Daniel smiled, but the smile faded quickly. His eyes closed. I watched the green line move across the monitor. The numbers meant nothing to me, yet I tried to memorize them in case someone later asked what I had seen. A nurse came in carrying a plastic cup and 2 pills. Her name tag said Marisol. She had bright pink frames and a calm voice. "How are we doing?" she asked. "Being oppressed by low-sodium broth," Daniel said. "That broth may be the only thing standing between you and a life of regret. I already drank it. Then you're safe." Marisol checked the band on his wrist and handed him the pills. "What are those?" I asked. Claire and Marisol answered at the same time. "Blood thinner," Claire said. "One is an antiplatelet medication," Marisol said. "The other is for cholesterol. His cholesterol was normal last year." Marisol looked at Daniel rather than me. "Would you like me to discuss your medications with your visitors present?" He gave a tired shrug. "Sure." "Daniel," Claire said, "you don't have to do that right now. It's my mother." Marisol waited. Daniel looked at Claire, then at me. "It's fine." That should have comforted me. Instead, it felt like permission granted under supervision. Marisol explained the medications, what bruising to expect, and why Daniel could not miss a dose of the antiplatelet drug. I reached for my phone to take notes. "I already have it," Claire said, holding up hers. "I'm taking my own notes. You won't be managing his medication." I didn't say I would. Daniel shut his eyes again. His thumb moved against my palm. I put my phone away. Marisol adjusted something on the monitor and asked Daniel about his pain. He said it was a 2. Claire said it had been a 4 before I arrived. "Because she asked me an hour ago," Daniel murmured. Marisol's gaze moved among us. She had the expression of a woman who understood exactly what was happening and had no available medication for it. "Rest is good," she said. "Quiet is good. But so is having people you love nearby as long as it doesn't become work." "Thank you," I said. Claire looked at the clock again. Marisol left before I could ask whether that had been medical advice or a personal opinion. Daniel opened his eyes. "You hit your head." I touched the sore spot above my temple. "How can you tell?" "There's a mark." I was attacked by furniture. Hospital furniture? A chair took advantage of my weakened state. His mouth lifted. Claire stood and pulled the flattened socks from beneath her. "You should rest." Daniel's smile disappeared. I leaned over and kissed his forehead again. "I'll go." "You don't have to run," he said, but he was looking at Claire. "No, she's right. I'll see you tomorrow." Claire picked up her purse. "I can find the elevator," I told her. "I need coffee." We walked out together. At the nurse's station, Claire stopped to ask Marisol when Dr. Patel would return. Marisol said she did not know but would leave a note. In the elevator, I asked, "Why was Daniel listed as private?" Claire pressed the lobby button even though it was already lit. "It's a standard privacy setting. It isn't standard. I gave birth to him and couldn't find out whether he was alive." "You knew he was alive." "I knew what you chose to text." Her head dropped back against the elevator wall. "Not now. When? I don't know, Elaine. When I'm not wondering if my husband's heart is going to stop?" The doors opened. She walked ahead of me, then stopped so abruptly near the lobby that I nearly struck her shoulder. "I need a favor," she said. Of course she did. "What?" "Daniel's back pillow is at home, the gray one from the couch. The hospital pillows are making his neck hurt. You want me to get it? I don't want to leave him alone. I can stay with him while you go. He's asleep. Then he won't know which one of us is there." Her mouth tightened. I waited for her to hear how that sounded. She did. I saw it. "I've been here since the ambulance," she said. "I haven't showered. I haven't brushed my teeth. My car is still at his office, and I came here with his coworker, whose name I can't remember even though she held my hand for an hour. I am doing the best I can. The fight drained out of me. I'll get the pillow." She gave me the code for their alarm, then remembered I had my own key. Ruth was still sitting in the lobby with a crossword book open on her lap. She stood when she saw me. "Well?" "He looks awful. He had a heart attack." "I know that." "What did you expect, a necktie?" I looked back at Claire. She had already stepped into the coffee line. Daniel asked me to cooperate with her. Ruth closed the crossword book. "Cooperate is what kidnappers tell hostages. Lower your voice. Did you ask him why you weren't allowed upstairs? He was tired. That family trait will kill us all." On the drive to Daniel's house, Ruth gripped the steering wheel hard enough to whiten her knuckles. "I'm not defending Claire," I said, though Ruth had not spoken for several blocks. "You're warming up to it." She watched him collapse. She didn't watch him collapse. He was at work. She got the call. So did you. Eventually. I looked out the window. Ruth sighed. "I'm sorry." "No, you're not. I'm sorry in principle." Daniel and Claire lived in a brick house with dark green shutters that Claire had chosen after painting 6 samples beside the garage. Daniel had preferred blue, but claimed green was his idea once the neighbors complimented it. Inside, one of his shoes lay near the stairs. The other was under the entry table, as if he had kicked them off while walking. A coffee mug sat in the living room with a pale brown ring, dried at the bottom. Ruth picked it up. Don't clean, I said. I'm putting it in the sink. That leads to wiping the counter. God forbid. The gray pillow was tucked behind Daniel's end of the couch. It smelled faintly of his aftershave. I pressed it to my chest before I remembered Ruth was watching. She looked away. In the kitchen, a grocery list was attached to the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like Vermont. Milk, coffee, lemons, Daniel's awful cereal. Claire had written the first 3 items. Daniel had added the last in block letters. Their whole marriage was there in 4 lines: annoyance, familiarity, and the certainty that someone would come home to buy cereal. I found his slippers by the back door and added them to the pillow. Then I noticed the trash can. A flattened antacid box lay on top. I pulled it out. "Elaine," Ruth said. "It's empty." That's generally why people throw things away. He was taking these at my house Sunday. So, what if he'd been having symptoms for days? Then he should have gone to a doctor. I should have made him. You can't make Daniel change a light bulb before he has researched all available bulbs. How are you going to make him see a cardiologist? I turned the box over. Nothing written on it could accuse me, so I put it back. We delivered the pillow to the information desk. Claire did not come down. Marisol sent an aide to collect it. I watched the gray pillow disappear through the same doors that kept me out. That evening, Owen forwarded another group update. Daniel is improving and may come home tomorrow if his labs look good. We appreciate everyone giving us space. We'll reach out if we need anything. I sent Claire a message. Please add me to the update group. She called 3 minutes later. It isn't a family group, she said. I noticed Beth from Pilates is in it. Beth brought my car from the office. Then I'm grateful to Beth. I don't know how you got her name. It was on the message. That's why people aren't supposed to forward group texts. I sat at my kitchen table, tracing a scratch in the wood with my fingernail. Add me. Every time I send an update, 9 people ask questions. It's easier to send yours separately. It would be easier for whom? Please don't do this tonight. You keep saying that as if tomorrow is going to be a wonderful time for it. She was silent. Is Daniel coming home? I asked. If his blood work is good, what will he need? A lot. Something changed in her voice. The irritation thinned, and beneath it was simple fear. He can't lift anything, she said. He can't drive for at least a week. He has 6 new medications, and he's supposed to walk, but not too much. He's already arguing about taking time off work. That sounds like him. He tried to answer email from the cardiac unit. That also sounds like him. For the first time since her call, Claire almost laughed. I'll make soup, I said. He needs low sodium. I know how to cook without salt. He likes your chicken and rice. I know what he likes. The words came out sharper than I intended. Claire let them pass. Can you bring it tomorrow? Yes. And maybe stay with him while I pick up his prescriptions. Yes. I'll let you know when they discharge him. The next morning, I made soup before breakfast. I measured everything, left out the salt, and tasted it so many times I burned the front of my tongue. At 11, Claire texted that Daniel was being discharged at 2. At 12:30, she called and asked if I could meet them at the house. I thought you needed me while you got prescriptions. I picked them up already, but I could use help getting him settled. I arrived before they did and unlocked the front door. The gray pillow was back on the couch. Claire had carried it home, along with the charger, the blue socks, and the folded medication list. Daniel walked in slowly with one hand on the doorframe. He wore the stained gray sweatshirt and looked irritated by the entire concept of gravity. I went to him, but Claire said, "Don't pull his right arm." I wasn't going to. "She knows," Daniel said. Claire kept one hand at his back until he reached the couch. He lowered himself beside the gray pillow and looked around his own living room as if he had been gone for months. I brought him soup. He ate 4 spoonfuls, declared it excellent, then fell asleep with the bowl still on the table. Claire covered him with a blanket and motioned for me to follow her into the kitchen. He shouldn't be alone for at least the first week, she whispered. Of course not. I have tomorrow and Friday off. I can work from home Monday, but after that I need to go in. I nodded, waiting. So, Tuesday through Friday. If you came around 8:30, I could leave on time. I'm usually home by 5:30 unless something runs late. I looked through the doorway at Daniel asleep under the blanket. Claire continued quietly, already arranging my days, and the following week will probably be similar, maybe longer depending on what Dr. Patel says. You can take him to cardiac rehab once that starts. It's easier than me changing my whole schedule. A day earlier, I had been allowed 10 minutes. Now she was giving me Tuesdays through Fridays. It would also be easier than me changing my whole schedule, I said. Claire blinked. What? I have a schedule too. I know. I wasn't suggesting you don't. You just assigned me 4 full days a week, possibly for several weeks. I'm trying to make sure Daniel is safe. So am I. She looked through the doorway at him, then lowered her voice further. He can't be alone. Then we should figure out who can be with him. I thought that was what we were doing. No, you were telling me when to arrive. For a second, she seemed genuinely confused, not angry. It was worse than anger. It had not occurred to her that I might object. What days can you do? She asked. I can bring dinner Tuesday and Thursday. If there's an appointment you truly can't take him to, I can drive him. Her face went still. Dinner? Yes. I'm not asking for dinner. You asked me to make soup. That was before I knew he was being discharged. I made the soup. Elaine, he needs someone in the house. I understand that. Then why are you talking about meals? Because that is what I can offer. The lie was small and technically shaped. I could offer more. My calendar was not crowded. I had a dental cleaning in 2 weeks, lunch with Ruth most Wednesdays, and a standing Thursday morning argument with the grocery store's self-checkout machine. Claire knew that. Daniel knew it too. The issue was not whether I had the hours, it was whether all my hours still belonged to them. Claire crossed her arms. Is this because of the hospital? Yes. At least that answer came cleanly. She glanced toward Daniel again. You're punishing him. I'm not. You're telling me you won't care for your own son because I asked you to respect his recovery. You asked me to wait for updates while people from Pilates knew more than I did. Beth picked up my car. I am glad Beth exists. This isn't funny. I know. Daniel shifted on the couch. The blanket slid to the floor. Claire hurried into the living room before I could reach it. She picked up the blanket and tucked it around his legs. What's going on? He asked without opening his eyes. Nothing, she said. Doesn't sound like nothing. I stood in the kitchen doorway. We're discussing what happens when Claire goes back to work. He opened his eyes and looked at me. You'll be here, right? There was no manipulation in his voice. That made it harder. He sounded as certain as he had been about returning for his charger. I'll help, I said, but I won't be here every day. His forehead creased. Why not? Claire turned away from him, pressing her lips together. I wanted to say because I spent a night beneath a television while you were 5 floors above me. I wanted to ask whether he knew Owen had received more information than I had. I wanted to point to every ordinary object Claire had carried home. Socks, charger, paper, and tell him I had been allowed to care for his things before I was allowed to care for him. Instead, I said, there need to be other arrangements. What arrangements? Friends, neighbors, maybe someone you hire for a few hours. I don't need a nurse. Then you may not need me here all day either. He pushed himself higher against the pillow and winced. Both Claire and I moved toward him. I'm fine, he snapped. We stopped. Daniel looked at me. I just got home. I know. Can this wait? Claire gave a short, humorless laugh. Apparently not. I wasn't talking to you. Her face changed. Daniel saw it and closed his eyes. That came out wrong. No, she said. It came out exactly as you meant it. She walked upstairs. We listened to her footsteps cross the ceiling. A door shut. Daniel rubbed his face with both hands, then remembered his bruised wrist and lowered the right one. Great, he said. I should go. No, sit down. I'm not going to be used as the reason you two fight. You're already the reason. He meant it as a joke. When I did not smile, he looked toward the stairs. Claire hasn't slept, he said. I know. She watched them put tubes in me. I know. She had to make decisions. I know. You keep saying that because you keep telling me what she went through as if I need to earn the right to have gone through something too. He stared at me. I picked up his soup bowl. It was still warm. You barely ate. I'm not hungry. You need something with the medication. I had crackers. How many? Claire knows. I nearly laughed at the absurdity of it. What? He asked. Nothing. You and Claire should stop saying nothing when you both mean something. Then don't ask me to make this easier by pretending I'm not hurt. He looked down at the blanket. His left thumb began moving. I told her to keep things calm, he said. That's all. What does calm mean? It means I'd had a heart attack and didn't want a crowd. I'm not a crowd, I know. Do you? He leaned his head back and stared at the ceiling. I cannot do this today. There was the line Claire had been using in different clothes. All right, I said, not today. I carried the bowl into the kitchen. The soup had left a pale ring on the coffee table. I wet a cloth and wiped it until the wood shone. Daniel called from the couch. Can you stay until Claire comes down? Of course. I sat in the chair across from him. For the next hour, I did exactly what I had been told he needed. I watched him sleep. He snored lightly, something he would have denied under oath. Every few minutes, his mouth twitched or his fingers moved. I watched his chest rise beneath the blanket and counted without deciding to. At 3, he woke thirsty. I brought water. At 3:15, his phone rang, and I handed it to him without looking at the screen. He answered an email from work until I took the phone from his hand. Hey, no, I'm just telling them where the file is. You almost died. So everyone keeps saying, maybe listen to everyone. He gave me a weak smile. Bossy, hereditary. I placed the phone on the mantel, beyond his reach. He looked pleased. That was the part that confused me. He resented being managed, but he relaxed as soon as someone else took responsibility. Mom? What, can you make that turkey meatloaf sometime? You hate my turkey meatloaf. I've changed. It took a blocked artery? Apparently. I'll make it Tuesday. His smile faded a little at the word Tuesday. Claire really does need help, he said. I know. I don't want a stranger here. Then ask Owen. Owen has a job. So does Claire. You don't. I stared at him. He lifted one hand. That sounded bad. It sounded accurate. I meant you're retired. I know what you meant. And you've always said family should be there. I was at the hospital. He looked away. The room went quiet except for a truck passing outside. I asked you not to make this a fight, he said. You asked me to cooperate. Same thing. No, Daniel, it isn't. Before he could answer, Claire came downstairs wearing clean clothes, her damp hair combed straight. She had put on makeup but missed a faint black crescent beneath one eye. Daniel looked at her and smiled with obvious relief. Feel better? Human adjacent. Mom stole my phone. Good. Claire sat beside him. He shifted to make room, then winced again. I stood. There's soup in the refrigerator, I said. Enough for tomorrow, too. Thank you, Claire replied. Her voice was careful. I'll call in the morning. Daniel reached for my hand. You're leaving? You're not alone. But rest. He released me slowly. At the door, Claire followed. I wasn't trying to take advantage of you, she said. I didn't say you were. You didn't have to. I believe you're frightened. That isn't an answer. It's the answer I have today. She opened the door. You're really going to make him ask friends to sit with him? If he needs someone every minute, yes. He'll hate that. He may discover other people love him. Her eyebrows lifted. That sounded noble. It wasn't supposed to. I stepped onto the porch. Behind Claire, Daniel called. Did Mom leave? She closed her eyes for a moment. I almost went back inside. Instead, I walked to my car. At home, the chicken and rice soup smell clung to my sweater. I hung it over a chair, then changed my mind and put it in the washing machine. Ruth called while I was measuring detergent. How is he? Home and alive. Irritable. He asked for turkey meatloaf. That's brain damage. He likes it. No one likes it. I poured too much detergent into the cap and tipped some back. I told them I won't stay there every day. Ruth was quiet long enough that I checked the screen to make sure the call had not dropped. "Well," she said, "what does that mean?" "It means I'm trying not to scare you away from your own backbone. I'm not growing a backbone. I'm being petty. Do you believe that? I have nothing else to do. You have a life. I have a dental cleaning. That hygienist depends on you." I laughed, then sat on the floor beside the washing machine. What if something happens when he's alone? Then Claire should not leave him alone. She has to work. So do millions of people with 6 spouses. They make arrangements. I'm his mother. Yes. The word landed differently from Ruth. It was not a category. It was not an order. It was simply true. I could stay with him, I said. I know, and I'm choosing not to. You're choosing how. The washing machine filled, churning my green cardigan beneath gray water. At 7 that evening, Daniel called. "Claire says you're only coming twice next week." I said I would bring dinner twice. I also said I could take you to an appointment if she couldn't. "My follow-up is Thursday. I can take you. What about Tuesday?" "What about it?" "Claire has a meeting. Ask Owen. He works. Owen does not work 24 hours a day." Daniel exhaled into the phone. "I don't want Owen helping me shower." I sat straighter. "Do you need help showering?" "No." "Then why did you say that?" "Because it's humiliating enough without calling friends and advertising that I can't be alone. You were comfortable advertising it to me. You're my mother." There it was again, carrying all the warmth of a job description. "I can come for a few hours Tuesday," I said. "Not all day." "What's the difference?" "The difference is that I decide when I'm available. This is about Claire. It's about all 3 of us." "No. It's about one stupid sentence she said when she thought I might die. It's also about you telling me to cooperate instead of asking why I spent the night downstairs." He was silent. "I will be there Tuesday from 10 until 2, I said. "I'll take you Thursday. I'll bring dinner both days. That is what I'm offering. You've never made me negotiate for your help before." "No." The word frightened me with its steadiness. Daniel's voice hardened. "So now, when I actually need you, you're choosing pride." I looked toward the empty outlet beside my toaster. "No," I said. "I'm choosing not to be family only when there's work to do." Daniel did not answer. I could hear the television behind him and the soft rise and fall of Claire's voice, though I could not make out the words. "That's unfair," he finally said. "Which part?" "You know which part." "I actually don't. The part where you act like we only call you when we need something. You called me Tuesday about your father's socket set." "So?" "You didn't ask how I was." "I was going to." "When?" "Mom, come on, I'm not keeping score. I'm telling you why this hurts. It sounds like scorekeeping." He coughed, then went silent. I gripped the phone. "Are you all right?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" It was a cough. "Does your chest hurt?" "No." "Are you dizzy?" "No." "Do you?" "This is why Claire didn't want to call you right away." The sentence stopped everything. Daniel must have heard the change in my breathing because he said, "That came out wrong. What did she tell you?" "Nothing." "Forget it." "What did you mean?" "I meant you get worried. My son had a heart attack." "I know." "Was there some version of that night where I wasn't supposed to worry?" "No, but you don't just worry. You start asking questions nobody can answer, and then everybody has to calm you down." I stood in my kitchen without moving. "Who had to calm me down?" I asked. "You know what I mean." "I sat by myself for 5 hours. Claire said you kept calling. I called twice. She was dealing with doctors. I know what she was dealing with." "Do you?" The question was quiet. That made it worse. "Yes," I said. "I do. I'm tired." "Then rest. I'll see you Tuesday. I'll be there at 10. He ended the call without saying he loved me. I held the phone until the screen went dark. On Tuesday morning, I arrived at 9:58 with turkey meatloaf, roasted carrots, and a bag of unsalted almonds Daniel would ignore. Claire opened the door in a charcoal suit with one earring on. "You're early, by 2 minutes. I thought you said 10. I can wait on the porch." She touched her bare earlobe. "Sorry, I'm not ready," Daniel called from the living room. "She's missing an earring." "I know that," Claire called back. "It's on the bathroom counter. I looked there. Other bathroom." Claire closed her eyes. "We have 2. "Exactly." I followed her inside. Daniel was sitting on the couch in plaid pajama pants and a t-shirt that said Cleveland. Although none of us had ever lived in Ohio, the gray pillow supported his back. His hair stuck up along one side. "You look terrible," I said. "Thank you." Claire keeps saying, "I look good." "You look better," Claire corrected. "That's a very low bar." I put the food in the refrigerator while Claire reviewed his morning. He had taken his pills at 8:15. He needed to walk for 5 minutes before lunch. Lunch was prepared on the middle shelf. He had been cleared to shower alone but was not supposed to lock the bathroom door. "I'm right here," Daniel said. "I'm telling your mother. She's also right here." Claire found the missing earring in her purse. "I moved it," she said. Daniel gave me a look. I refused to return it. "My meeting should end at 1, Claire continued. "I'll be home by 1:30. "I'm leaving at 2, I said. "I know. If you're delayed, call me." "I won't be delayed." She kissed Daniel on the forehead. He tilted his face up, expecting a kiss on the mouth, but she was already reaching for her bag. At the door, she turned. "No work email." "Yes, Nurse Ratched." Claire stared at him. "Too soon?" he asked. "About 8 years, too late." She left. Daniel waited until her car pulled away before saying, "I'm going to shower." "Fine. You don't have to stand outside the door. I wasn't planning to. Claire stood there yesterday. Maybe she likes doors. She asked me every 30 seconds if I was breathing. That seems excessive. You can usually go 45. He laughed, then pressed a hand to his chest. I stood. "I'm fine." "Why did you do that?" Laughing pulls. "Where?" "Everywhere." "Daniel, it's sore. They said it would be." He saw my face and sighed. "This is exactly what I meant." "What? You look like you're about to call an ambulance." I stood up. "You stood up like the house was on fire. I'm getting water. You don't have a glass. I was going to get one." He smiled. "For yourself?" I went into the kitchen and returned with 2 glasses so I would not have to admit anything. After his shower, he came downstairs wearing sweatpants and a button-down shirt. "Why are you dressed for a bank? I'm tired of pajamas. You missed a button." He looked down, then sat heavily on the bottom stair. I went to him. "Don't," he said. I stopped close enough to catch him if he fell, far enough to let him pretend I was not there for that reason. He fixed the button with fingers that shook slightly. "Claire would have done it," he said. "Do you want me to?" "No." "Then take your time." His jaw tightened. He undid the shirt and started over. It took several minutes. I sat beside him without speaking. When he finished, he leaned his shoulder against mine. "This is stupid," he said. "Yes, I meant me. I know. I can lead a 40-person conference call, but apparently shirts are beyond me. 40 people can't see your buttons on the phone. Thank God for technology." He rested there until his breathing slowed. At 11:30, we walked to the mailbox. It was less than 50 yards from the front door, but Daniel approached it like a mountain with zoning restrictions. "You're hovering," he said. "I'm walking. You're walking sideways. I have a wide stance. You look like a crab. You look like a man who needs his mail." The box held 2 advertisements, an electric bill, and a postcard from a roofing company. Daniel examined each piece as though expecting a medical diagnosis. Halfway back, he stopped. "What?" "Nothing." "Don't say nothing." He drew a slow breath. My heart skipped. "Sit down." "There's no chair." "The curb." "I'm not sitting on the curb." "Then lean on me." He did. For 5 seconds, maybe 10, the entire world narrowed to his weight against my shoulder. I could feel the beat of his heart through his shirt, though I had no idea whether it was too fast, too slow, or exactly right. Should I call Dr. Patel? No, we could call the office. They said palpitations can happen. Who said? Marisol. The discharge papers. Everybody. I looked at his face. His color was normal. Are you dizzy? No. Pain? No. Short of breath. Only because you're interrogating me. I wanted to be angry at the joke. Instead, I gripped his arm harder. He covered my hand with his. I'm okay, he said. This time, he was comforting me. We both knew it. Back inside, Daniel lay down. I brought lunch, and he ate half a sandwich before pushing the plate away. Did you really stay downstairs all night? He asked. Yes. Claire said you wouldn't leave. That is one way to describe it. She thought you were going to come upstairs. I thought about it. You would have gotten thrown out. Your aunt has already warned me about that. He smiled. Was she with you? She drove me the next day. She didn't come up. Claire said 10 minutes. His smile vanished. I didn't know that, he said. What did you know? That she let you visit. Let me. You know what I mean. I'm starting to think I don't. He rubbed his thumb. Everything happened fast. Who made you private? Probably the hospital. The hospital said it was your privacy setting. I signed a lot of papers. Before the procedure? I don't remember. Did Claire ask you? I said I don't remember. I watched his thumb move faster. All right, I said. He picked up his plate, then set it down again. Can you tell Claire I'm okay to be alone? He asked. No. Why not? You saw me. I saw you stop in the street because your heart skipped. She'll lose her mind if I tell her. Then don't tell her, but don't ask me to lie. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking for your opinion. My opinion is that you should follow the doctor's instructions. Whose side are you on? I stood and took his plate. I am not climbing into the middle of your marriage. You're already in it. Then I'm climbing out. At 1:45, Claire texted. Meeting ran long, leaving soon. At 2, I put on my coat. Daniel watched me from the couch. You're leaving? Claire said she's on her way. She's at least 30 minutes out. I called Claire. She answered in a whisper. I'm walking to the car. I said I would leave at 2. I know. I'm sorry. Traffic should be fine. You said you'd be home at 1:30. The meeting ran long. You could have told me before 1:45. I didn't know before 1:45. I looked at Daniel. He pretended to watch television. How long? I asked. 45 minutes, maybe. I stayed. Claire arrived at 3:20 with 2 grocery bags and an apology that sounded both sincere and insufficient. The freeway was stopped, she said. I looked at the clock. I'm sorry, she repeated. Daniel sat up. It wasn't her fault. I gathered my purse. Mom made me walk. To the mailbox, I said. She nearly tackled me when my heart skipped. Claire dropped the groceries on the table. Your heart? What? It was nothing. Did you call the cardiologist? No. She looked at me. He had no pain, dizziness, or shortness of breath, I said. It passed immediately. You should have called me. Daniel asked me not to, and you listened. Daniel threw up both hands. Could both of you stop acting like I'm not in the room? Claire turned on him. Then stop making me collect information from other people. I stepped toward the door. Mom, Daniel said, tell her they said this was normal. I looked at him. No, I said. His face hardened. Seriously? Talk to your wife. On Thursday, I drove him to the cardiologist. He was quiet for most of the ride, answering my questions with single words until I stopped asking. At a red light, he said. Claire thinks I should ask the doctor when I can be alone. That sounds reasonable. She wants me to ask in front of her. She isn't here. That's the point. He wanted me to help him win. I'm driving you, I said. That's all. You used to have opinions. I still do. I've become more selective. Dr. Patel extended the restriction through the weekend and ordered cardiac rehabilitation to begin the following week. Daniel argued about returning to work. Dr. Patel told him his office would survive his absence more easily than his heart would survive his impatience. On the way home, Daniel stared out the window. You enjoyed that, he said. A little. Traitor. Selective. When I pulled into his driveway, he did not open the door. "Come in," he said. "We can order lunch. I have plans." "What plans?" "Lunch with Ruth. You already saw her this week. She remains interesting." He looked at me as if I had spoken another language. "What about Sunday?" he asked. "Your place." "I'm not cooking this Sunday. We always come Sundays." "I know. Since when do you make other plans?" "Since I made other plans." He nodded slowly, then opened the car door. As he climbed out, I reached for his arm. He moved beyond my hand. "You don't have to keep proving the point," he said. I watched him walk toward the house alone, slowly but steadily. The terrible thing was, I did not know whether he was right. For the rest of the drive, I argued with him in my head. By the time I reached the restaurant, imaginary Daniel had apologized 3 times and admitted I had been right about everything since 1987. Ruth was already in a booth with a bowl of clam chowder. "You ordered without me. You're late." "I'm 4 minutes early." "I was hungry 7 minutes ago." I took off my coat and slid into the booth. Ruth watched me study the menu without turning a page. "What did he say?" "Who?" "The Dalai Lama." I closed the menu. "He thinks I'm proving a point." "Are you?" "I don't know." "Then you probably are. That's helpful. You don't pay me." I told her about the drive, the doctor, and Daniel asking about Sunday dinner. "You didn't cancel anything for Sunday," she said. "I hadn't made anything yet. You told him you had plans." "I do now." Ruth spooned chowder into her mouth. "That's not how plans work." "It is if you're free Sunday." She narrowed her eyes. "What are we doing?" "Something." "I don't like the sound of that. You once took me to an experimental theater piece where a woman screamed into a bucket. She was confronting the ocean. The ocean wasn't there. That was the point." On Saturday afternoon, Owen called. "I'm at Daniel's," he said. "He wants you to know I have been here since 10 and have not once helped him shower." In the background, Daniel said something I could not hear. Owen continued. "He also wants you to know that joke was in poor taste. Tell him most things about you are. He heard that." "Good." Daniel took the phone. He brought donuts. "You can't have donuts." I had half of one. "You ate a whole one," Owen called. Daniel lowered his voice. His height has made him dishonest. I smiled before remembering we were not getting along. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "Fine." "Did you walk?" "Owen made me." "Good. He's worse than you. Impossible." There was a pause. "You're still not cooking tomorrow?" he asked. "No. Claire was going to bring that salad you like." "I don't like it." "I'm polite. I told her you liked it. That explains why I've eaten it for 6 years." He laughed. The sound was fuller than it had been Tuesday. "What are your plans?" he asked. "Ruth and I are going to the flea market at the old train depot." "You hate flea markets. I hate going with you. You examine every wrench as if it belonged to George Washington." "It might. George Washington did not own a chrome ratchet. Prove it." For a few minutes we were ourselves again. Then he said, "You could come back by 5. "No." The word arrived before I could soften it. Daniel went quiet. I don't know when we'll be back," I said. "You could tell me later." "I'm not cooking Sunday dinner." "We could order something. That isn't the point." "Right," he said. "The point." He handed the phone back to Owen. The old train depot smelled like dust, cinnamon nuts, and furniture polish. Ruth bought a lamp shaped like a heron. I found a drawer full of cabinet hinges and stood over it longer than necessary. "Do not," Ruth said. "I'm looking. You have a troubled relationship with hinges." I picked up a brass one. "It's not the right size," she said. "How do you know?" "I was present during the cabinet crisis." I put it back. We ate sandwiches at a counter near the entrance. I kept my phone face up beside my plate. It did not ring. Around 4, I checked my messages. Nothing. "Maybe he's giving you space," Ruth said. "I didn't ask for space." "What did you ask for?" "I don't know. That seems to be going around." At home, I opened the freezer. 2 portions of turkey meatloaf sat wrapped in foil behind a bag of peas. I took one out, then put it back. Daniel called at 8:30. Did you find any priceless hinges? No. Ruth bought a bird lamp. Of course she did. How was your day? Claire made salmon. You hate salmon. I was polite. We both laughed. Then he said, Owen can take me to rehab Wednesday. That's good. He rearranged a meeting. He wants to help. I know. The way he said it made me picture him at the curb, irritated by his own body. I can take you the following week if you need me, I said. I thought you were only doing one appointment. Don't punish me for offering. I'm not. You sound like you are. I don't know what the rules are anymore. They aren't rules. What are they? I'm trying to figure that out, he sighed. Me too. For one hopeful second, I thought we had found the edge of an honest conversation. Then he said, Claire thinks you should do Fridays. I closed my eyes. Good night, Daniel. Mom, I'll call you tomorrow. I ended the call. Claire sent the rehabilitation schedule the next morning. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 for 6 weeks. Can you commit to Wednesdays and Fridays? She wrote. No, I replied. I can help with individual appointments when you and Daniel have asked others and no one is available. Her answer came quickly. That's humiliating for him. I typed, needing help isn't humiliating. She did not respond. Owen took Wednesday. On Thursday, I brought chicken with lemon, a salad Daniel would call grass, and a container of sliced strawberries. He opened the door before I knocked. You're supposed to be resting. I've rested so much, I'm developing upholstery. He wore jeans for the first time since the hospital. They hung loose at the waist. You've lost weight. I'm aware. Are you eating? I'm holding food right now. He took the bag from me and carried it to the kitchen. His steps were steadier, though he paused before lifting the bag onto the counter. Claire's working late, he said. Then I'll leave the containers. You can stay. I can stay for dinner. That's what I meant. He had set the table for 2. The sight touched me until I noticed the open laptop beside his plate. You're working. I'm reading. Emails. Emails contain words. You are impossible. You say that like it's new. I put the chicken in the oven to warm. Daniel sat and scrolled. Does Claire know? I asked. That I can read? That you're working. She has developed strong opinions. She was almost widowed. So were you, apparently. The joke failed before it reached me. Daniel shut the laptop. Sorry. I poured water into 2 glasses. He said, She checks my pills twice a day. You missed one? No. Then maybe she's checking because she's scared. You're taking her side now? I'm not taking sides. You refused to tell her I could be alone. Because the doctor said you shouldn't be. Dr. Patel cleared me after the weekend. Good. And she still acts like I'm going to drop dead if I take a shower. Talk to her. I do talk to her. No, you complain to me. He stared at the closed laptop. Do you know what she told me at the hospital? I asked. Can we not? That is not talking. It's not talking about what you want. The front door opened. Claire came into the kitchen carrying her shoes in one hand. That smells good. Mom brought chicken, Daniel said. I can see that. She kissed his cheek, then looked at the laptop. I was answering one email, he said. I didn't ask. You looked. I have eyes. He pushed back from the table. Here we go. Claire dropped her shoes near the wall. What does that mean? It means you're about to tell me I'm not allowed to work. You aren't. Dr. Patel said limited activity. Computer activity is activity. That isn't how computers work. I began putting strawberries into a serving bowl. Daniel looked at me. Tell her. No. Tell me what? Claire asked. He thinks work doesn't count because he does it sitting down, I said. Daniel's chair scraped the floor. Unbelievable. Claire laughed once. Welcome to my week. He stood too quickly and grabbed the table. We both moved. He raised a hand. Stop. Sit down, Claire said. I'm fine. Daniel. Both of you wanted to control me until one of you decided making a point was more important. Claire's gaze shifted to me. I set down the bowl. I'm going home. Good, Daniel said. The word came out hot and immediate. He regretted it. I saw that. I picked up my purse anyway. "Elaine," Claire said, following me to the door. "Stay with him. He's fine. That isn't what either of you have been telling me." I left before she could answer. Claire came to my house the next morning at 8:20. I was still in my robe, standing at the toaster with one slipper on. When I opened the door, she looked almost embarrassed to be there. "Is Daniel all right?" "He's at rehab." "Owen took him." "Then what happened?" "Nothing happened. People don't arrive before breakfast because nothing happened. I need to talk to you." I stepped aside. Claire went straight to the kitchen as if she had been invited. She sat at the table, then stood again and began inspecting the collection of magnets on my refrigerator. "Coffee?" I asked. "No." I poured her a cup anyway. She took it without thanking me. "What do you want?" she asked. "You came here. What do you want from me about the hospital? An apology?" "Yes." She blinked. "I want you to be sorry," I said. "Not exhausted, not justified. Sorry. I am sorry for the words I used, but not for keeping me out." Her fingers tightened around the cup. "Daniel didn't want you called right away," she said. The toaster released my bread with a sharp click. "What?" "Before the procedure, while he was conscious, he told me to wait until we knew how serious it was." "No." "Yes." "He was frightened. He wouldn't have. He said you would panic. He said you'd ask questions we couldn't answer and make him worry about you." Claire put the coffee down. His exact words were, "Don't call Mom until it's over. She gets worked up. Just handle her." The kitchen went silent. Then Claire said, "Do you really think I invented your place in this family?" "No," I said. "I think you enjoyed enforcing it." Claire flinched, then nodded once. "For about 5 minutes," she said. "Maybe I did." The honesty took some of the air out of my anger. She pulled the sleeves of her sweater over her hands. "You always show up knowing what Daniel needs. Which socks? Which soup? Where he left something 6 months ago, he calls you for a socket set before he looks in his own garage. That isn't my fault. I didn't say it was. It sounds like you're working toward it. I'm trying to explain why I said what I said. You said mothers wait for updates." "I know. You didn't say Elaine waits. You said mothers, as if becoming a wife moved you to the front of a line and pushed me out of the building." Claire looked down at her coffee. "I was angry that you called. My son had a heart attack. I know how that sounds. Do you?" "Yes." Her voice sharpened. "I do. I was standing outside a room where strangers had taken off my husband's clothes and were putting something into his heart. He had asked me to keep you calm, and you were asking questions I couldn't answer. I was terrified, and I hated him for making you one more thing I had to handle." The last word stayed between us. I sat at the table because my knees had started to feel unreliable. "You could have told me he asked you to wait. He told me not to. Why? Because then you would know it came from him." The truth was so plain it felt rehearsed, although I knew it wasn't. Claire wrapped both hands around the coffee cup. "Daniel doesn't like being the bad guy. If he doesn't want to stay 3 hours on Sunday, he tells me we need to leave, then waits for me to stand up first. If he doesn't want you calling 3 times about a cough, he says, Claire thinks we should let it go. If he wants your help, he calls you himself. I don't call 3 times about a cough. It was 5. That was bronchitis. It was allergies. It became bronchitis." She almost smiled. I almost did too. Neither of us allowed it. "What does that have to do with the hospital?" I asked. "It's what we do. He makes me the gate, and you make me prove I'm not keeping him from you. I have never asked you to be a gate. No, you just keep walking until somebody stops you." The comment landed because there was some truth in it. I had walked into their house with my own key more than once, always after knocking, usually carrying something. If Daniel had left a message saying they were sick, I brought groceries before asking whether they needed them. If he mentioned being tired, I made food. I called that love. Claire sometimes called it a lot. None of that belonged beside a hospital bed, but it had built the road there. "Did he make himself private?" I asked. Claire looked toward the empty outlet by my toaster. Several months ago, we updated the information in his medical account. He listed me as his only contact. Why? They asked for a primary contact. That doesn't mean only. I told him he could add you. He said one person was enough. My face felt cold. You told him to add me? I asked if he wanted to, and he said no. He said I handle medical things. The medication list Claire had carried home flashed in my mind, folded in quarters with his name in my handwriting. I handled them when he asked me to. I know. He asked me to keep that list. I know. Then he made you the only person allowed to use it. Claire did not answer. I pushed my untouched toast aside. Butter had soaked into the center. Why are you telling me this now? Because he thinks I'm the reason you're angry. You are one of the reasons. I know. I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. I'm sorry I left you downstairs. I could have brought you up after the procedure, no matter what Daniel said. The apology was not polished. She did not ask me to understand her. It hurt more than the excuses had. But I'm not going to apologize for every choice he made, she continued. And I'm not going to let him complain that I drove you away while he sits there acting confused. Has he been complaining? He asks why I can't fix this. The absurdity of it nearly made me laugh. What does he think you should do? Call you, apologize again, get you back on Wednesdays. I stared at her. Claire's mouth twisted. He didn't say it exactly like that. He didn't have to. No. The toaster had cooled. The kitchen smelled faintly burnt. I am angry with you, I said. You should be. But I'm not staying away to punish you. I know that now. What changed? Last night when he asked you to tell me he could work, the second you didn't take his side, you stopped being useful to him. That's not fair. No, Claire said. It's not. I stood and carried my toast to the trash. Behind me, she said, You do it too. I turned. You like being the person he needs, she said. You might not like how he uses it, but you like being the one with the socks. My hand tightened around the plate. You came here to apologize? I came here because I'm tired of being the only woman in this family who gets blamed for telling the truth badly. I scraped the toast into the trash and put the plate in the sink with more force than necessary. Claire stood. That was cruel. Yes. I'm sorry. No, you aren't. I am. I just also believe it. She picked up her purse. At the door, she hesitated. He'll be home by 10:30. I know where he lives. Her eyes met mine. Yes, she said. You do. I waited until her car turned out of my street before I called Daniel. He declined the call. 1 minute later, a message appeared. At rehab. Call after? I wrote. Come to my house when you're finished. The typing bubbles appeared, vanished, then returned. Claire has the car. I'll pick you up. Owen had planned to take him home, so I met them outside the rehabilitation center. Daniel came through the glass doors wearing athletic pants and a windbreaker, carrying a water bottle the staff had given him. He looked tired but pleased with himself. How was it? I asked. They made me walk on a treadmill at the speed of a continental drift. Owen looked between us. Am I still taking him home? I'll do it, I said. Daniel's smile faded. Owen held out the small gym bag. His Majesty has clean socks, instructions, and a protein bar he says tastes like drywall. I did not say drywall, you said insulated drywall. That's different. Daniel took the bag. Thanks for the ride. Call if you need me, Owen said. He will, I replied. Owen looked at Daniel, then wisely got into his truck. Daniel climbed into my passenger seat and fastened the seatbelt. Did something happen? He asked. Claire came to see me. His hand stopped on the belt. What did she say? You know. Mom. She told me you asked her not to call me until after the procedure. He looked through the windshield. Is it true? I was about to have a catheter put into my heart. That isn't an answer. Yes. The word was barely audible. I started the car, but did not move it. She also told me you made yourself private months ago. I picked a primary contact. You picked one person. I didn't think it mattered. It mattered when I asked whether you were alive. Nobody said I was dead. Nobody would tell me anything. You knew I was stable. I knew what Claire sent 3 hours later." He rubbed his thumb against his palm. "She shouldn't have waited that long." "You told her to." "I said until we knew what was happening." "You said until it was over." "That's not what I meant. It seems everyone is responsible for interpreting what you mean except you." He looked at me then. "What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me why my fear was a burden, but my help is expected. I was trying to protect you." "From what?" "From panicking." "Daniel, you were having a heart attack. I was entitled to panic. That's exactly what I didn't need. What did you need? To get through it without worrying about you too." I sat back. He continued faster now. "When Dad was sick, you asked every doctor the same questions. You didn't sleep. You barely ate. You called me at all hours because you thought you'd miss something. I couldn't do that from a hospital bed. Your father was dying. I know. And you were 28. I know. I was trying to keep you informed. You were drowning me in it." The words struck an old, unguarded place. I had thought those calls held us together. I remember Daniel answering in the middle of the night saying, "I'm here, Mom," over and over until his father's breathing stopped. "I didn't know," I said. His face softened. "I'm not saying you did anything wrong." "Yes, you are." "I'm saying I was scared, and I couldn't manage your fear on top of mine. You did not have to manage me. You had to let me sit beside you." I didn't know how serious it was. Neither did I. I knew less than Owen. "That was Claire. You handed it to Claire." He leaned his head back. "So this is all my fault now? I don't need it to be all your fault. I need you to stop giving away your choices whenever they hurt someone. I had a heart attack, and I am grateful every second that you survived it. But surviving does not make everything you did around it kind." His eyes closed. "I will not be bringing dinner tonight," I said. "I won't be taking you to rehabilitation next week. I need some distance." His eyes opened. "You're serious?" "Yes. For how long?" "I don't know. You said this wasn't punishment." "It isn't. I cannot keep caring for you as if nothing changed." "Everything changed," he said. "I almost died. So did something in me." He looked away. I drove him home. Neither of us spoke. When we reached his house, he opened the door and moved slowly onto the driveway. I waited for him to turn back. I thought he might apologize or ask me to come inside without needing anything from me. He adjusted the strap of his gym bag and shut the door. I remained until he reached the porch. He never looked back. At the first stoplight, I nearly turned around. By the second, I had constructed a reason. Daniel had left his water bottle in my car. It was on the floor behind the passenger seat, rolling gently each time I braked. I could take it back. I could hand it through the door. I could ask whether he wanted me to stay for dinner without either of us admitting I had changed my mind. At the third light, Claire sent a message. "He's inside." That was all. I replied, "Thank you." Then I drove home with the water bottle knocking against the back of my seat. I did not call the next morning. Neither did Daniel. I cleaned the refrigerator instead. I threw out mustard that had expired 2 years earlier and found 3 jars of pickles, all open, none of them mine. Daniel liked a particular brand and bought it whenever he visited because he claimed my pickles tasted institutional. I held 1 jar over the trash. Then I put it back. At noon, I made half a sandwich. At 1, I checked the weather near Daniel's house, as though he lived in another state instead of 19 minutes away. At 2, I looked at the cardiac rehabilitation schedule Claire had sent and calculated that his Friday session should be finished. At 3, I turned my phone off. It stayed off for 11 minutes. Ruth arrived with a paint roller and a bag of old towels. "Put on shoes," she said. "I'm wearing shoes. Those are slippers. They have soles. So do some fish." I looked at the roller. "What are we doing?" "Painting my spare room." "Today?" "No, Elaine. I carry painting supplies for emotional support. I told her I was not in the mood. That's why I came. I don't like the color you chose. You haven't seen it. You described it as warm beige. It is warm beige. That means brown. It means free labor should stop criticizing. Ruth's spare room was indeed brown. She had painted one test square beneath the window, where it resembled coffee diluted with too much milk. It's awful, I said. I know. Why did you buy 2 gallons? The man at the store said it was calming. Did you tell him it looked like wet cardboard? I was vulnerable. We painted for 4 hours, first the walls and then, accidentally, part of the ceiling when Ruth lost control of the roller extension. By the time we finished, my shoulder hurt and there was beige paint in my hair. My phone showed no missed calls. I had wanted space. I had not expected it to be so quiet. On Sunday, I woke at 6 and began making coffee for 3 people. I measured 6 scoops into the filter before I realized what I was doing. The house had hosted Sunday dinner for so long that it seemed to prepare itself. At 11, sunlight fell across the table where Daniel usually sat. At 1, I caught myself considering whether salmon counted as punishment. At 4, I drove to Ruth's and ate reheated Chinese food out of cartons. "Are you going to ask how he is?" I said. "No. You ask every other day. You'll tell me if you want to." "I don't know how he is." Ruth set down her carton. "You could call. That would defeat the purpose." "What purpose?" "I need him to understand. You need to understand too." "What?" "That not taking care of him is going to hurt." "I know that. You know it in the way people know paint needs ventilation." I opened a window. After we got headaches, I pushed noodles around with my fork. Ruth said, "You can miss him and still not fix it. He almost died, yes." "I keep seeing him leaning on me by the mailbox." "I know." "What if he thinks I don't love him? Then he's an idiot." "That isn't comforting. I'm his aunt. I have broad diagnostic authority. I stayed until nearly 9. When I returned home, the porch light illuminated an empty driveway. I had not expected Daniel to be there. I was disappointed anyway. He called Tuesday evening. "Did you take my water bottle?" he asked. "It was in my car. I thought I lost it." "I can bring it." The offer came too quickly. "No. Keep it there." "How was rehab?" "Fine." "That means what?" "Treadmill. Bicycle." They put stickers all over me and stared at my heart. "Did you behave?" "No." "Good." Silence settled between us. "How are you?" I asked. "Fine." "Daniel." "I missed yesterday." "Why?" "Claire got called into work early. Owen was in Columbus. You could have called me. You said you weren't taking me. I said I needed distance. I didn't say I wanted you missing appointments. What does that mean? It means if no one else can take you, you can ask." I did ask other people. "Who?" "Owen." "One person. How many people am I supposed to tell that I can't drive myself?" "As many as it takes." He gave a bitter laugh. "Easy for you to say. You think asking me is less humiliating because I don't count. That's not what I said. It's what you keep showing me. I called to ask about a water bottle." "No, you called because you missed me." The words left before I could stop them. Daniel went quiet. Then he said, "You sound very sure. I'm not." Another silence. "I do miss you," he said. My throat tightened. "I miss you too." "Then why are we doing this?" "Because missing someone doesn't repair what happened. What repairs it?" "I don't know. That's convenient. You asked. I asked a question you keep pretending has no answer. What answer would you like?" "Come to dinner Thursday. Talk to me like I'm your son, not someone failing a test. I do talk to you like my son." "No. You talk to me like a man who disappointed you. You are both." He inhaled sharply. I regretted it, but not enough to take it back. "Claire and I are fighting," he said. "I'm sorry. She thinks I blame her." "Do you?" "I think she made everything worse." "Then talk to her." "I am talking to her." "You're talking to me." "God, Mom. Can't I tell you anything now? You can tell me how you feel. You cannot ask me to deliver it to Claire or agree she caused all of this. I didn't ask that. You were getting there. You always decide what I'm about to do, then surprise me." He ended the call. On Thursday, I left the water bottle on their porch with a note that said, "This belongs to a difficult person." Daniel sent back a picture of it on his kitchen counter. Takes one to know one. I smiled. Then I cried so abruptly I had to sit on the stairs. The following week passed through small, unsatisfying exchanges. He reported that rehabilitation had increased his treadmill speed. I told him Ruth's spare room looked like the inside of a shipping box. He asked if I still had the cabinet hinge he had removed. I told him it was in a dish by the sink. Neither of us mentioned the hospital. Claire did not contact me except to send one message after his cardiology appointment. Heart function is normal, cleared to drive Monday. I replied, "That's wonderful." She wrote, "Yes." The restraint in those 3 letters felt almost respectful. The next Sunday, my doorbell rang at 4:20. Daniel stood on the porch holding a grocery bag. For a second, all I saw was that he had driven himself. "You drove. Apparently my license still works." How did it feel? Terrifying for 2 blocks. Then everyone else on the road became the problem. That sounds normal. He lifted the bag. "Claire bought that salad. I told you I don't like it. She doesn't know that." "You didn't tell her?" "I forgot." I stepped aside. He walked in and headed toward the kitchen without asking. "What are we having?" he called. I remained by the open door. Daniel turned. "What? I'm going out." "Now? At 5. With who?" "Ruth." "Again?" "She remains interesting." He looked at the grocery bag, then at me. "I thought we could have dinner. You didn't call. It's Sunday. I know what day it is." His face changed. Not anger at first. Surprise. Sunday dinner had been so fixed in his life that he had mistaken tradition for ownership. "I brought salad," he said. "I see that. I can wait until you get back. I won't be back until late. Where are you going?" "To a movie." "What movie? I don't remember." He laughed without humor. "You don't even know what you're seeing." "Ruth bought the tickets, so skip it." "No." The words seemed to strike the room itself. Daniel placed the grocery bag on the table. "I came over. I'm glad." "You don't seem glad." "I am glad to see you." "I am still going." He looked toward the stove as if dinner might appear if he waited. "I thought you wanted me to come without needing anything," he said. "I do. Then why are you punishing me for it?" "I'm not." "You came without asking whether I was available. It's Sunday. You keep saying that." "Because you're acting like this is some random afternoon. It is my afternoon." He pulled out a chair and sat. The effort went out of him so suddenly that I almost canceled. "I don't know how to do this," he said. "Do what?" "Talk to you now. Start with a sentence that belongs to you." He rubbed his thumb. "I'm angry that you left when I was sick," he said. It was not an apology. It was his. I sat across from him. "I'm angry that you shut me out when you were sick. I thought I was protecting myself. I believe you. I also thought I was protecting you. I don't believe that part yet." He nodded slowly. From outside, a car horn sounded. Ruth. Daniel looked toward the window. "You're really leaving?" "Yes." I stood, then bent and kissed the top of his head. "You can stay if you want." "Lock the door when you go. What am I supposed to eat?" I pointed at the grocery bag. "You brought salad." As I walked outside, he called after me, "Mom?" I turned. He looked pale in the doorway, though it might have been the porch light. "I made it here," he said. "I know." He was not talking about the drive. I wanted to go back. Instead, I said, "Make it home too. Text me when you do." At 9:40, my phone vibrated in the dark theater. Home. I held the glowing screen beneath my coat and wrote, "Glad." Then I put the phone away before I could add anything that would make the distance disappear. "What did he say?" Ruth whispered. "Home." Good. A woman 2 rows ahead turned and shushed us. Ruth leaned toward her. "There's been a cardiac event." The woman's face changed immediately. "Oh, I'm sorry." "Stop it," I whispered. "What?" "There was. Not in this theater." The woman faced forward again, though she kept glancing back as if one of us might require resuscitation. I missed the end of the movie. Ruth later explained that the sister had been the one sending the letters, which would have been surprising if I'd remembered any letters. When I reached home, the kitchen light was on. The crooked cabinet door above the counter was closed. I opened it. It closed evenly. Daniel had replaced the hinge. On the counter, he had left the old one in the little dish beside my keys. A note lay underneath it. Not George Washington's. I ran my finger over the brass, then folded the note and placed it in my wallet. "Tuesday evening," he called while I was peeling potatoes. "Did you notice the cabinet?" "No. You opened it 5 times. How would you know? Because you always open it 5 times when you're checking whether something is fixed." "I am not that predictable." "You made coffee for me last Sunday even though I wasn't there." My peeler stopped. "How do you know that?" "There were grounds in the filter. You examined my trash?" "I put something in it." "What?" "The packaging from the hinge." "You bought a new hinge?" "Mom, I didn't forge one. I thought you reused the old one. That's why it was crooked. You said the wood was warped. I was protecting my professional reputation." "You don't have a professional reputation. You work in logistics. Logistics involves hinges." "Does it?" "No." I laughed. He asked about the movie. I told him Ruth had chosen it because a review used the phrase meditation on grief, which she considered a guarantee of entertainment. "Did you like it?" "I don't know." "You don't know if you liked a 2-hour movie?" I was distracted. By me, I resumed peeling. "Partly. I'm sorry." The words came quietly, almost hidden beneath the sound of the television at his end. For what? For showing up without calling. It was not the apology I wanted, but it was a real one. "Thank you," I said. He cleared his throat. "We're having dinner here Sunday. Would you like to come?" The phrasing was so careful I could hear Claire inside it. "What time?" 6. "If you're available." "I am." "Claire is attempting your meatloaf." "Why?" "She says yours is full of salt." "It is not." "She found the recipe you gave us. I left out ingredients. I knew it. Some things have to be earned." Sunday evening, I rang their doorbell rather than using my key. Daniel opened the door wearing an apron over a blue sweater. The apron said, "Kiss the cook," though someone had crossed out kiss and written "monitor sodium" above it in black marker. "Claire?" I asked. "She vandalized me." "It's an improvement." He stepped back. "Come in." Claire was at the stove stirring gravy with the concentration of a chemist handling unstable material. "I followed your recipe," she said. "Then why is it gray?" "It says add broth." "How much?" "It doesn't say." "That means a little." Those words would have fit on the card. I set down the flowers I had brought. Claire looked at them. "Those aren't food." "No? You didn't bring backup?" "I was told I was invited to dinner." Daniel smiled. Claire gave the gravy another suspicious stir. "There's pizza in the freezer." The meatloaf was dry, the gravy was terrible, and the carrots were excellent. We discussed all 3 conclusions openly. For the first 15 minutes, everyone was too polite. Daniel complimented the napkins. Claire asked whether Ruth's paint had dried. I described the cardboard room. Nobody mentioned the hospital or the fact that we had once eaten together every Sunday without arranging it like a diplomatic visit. Then Daniel reached for the salt. Claire slapped his hand. He stared at her. She stared back. I began laughing. Claire's mouth twitched. "What? You hit a cardiac patient." He reached for salt. "I was moving it," Daniel said. "Toward your food, coincidence." "You can manage your own heart," she said, passing him the shaker. "Go ahead." Daniel looked at it, then set it down. That small choice changed something in the room. After dinner, Claire brought coffee to the living room. Daniel sat in the chair instead of his usual place on the couch, leaving space for the 2 of us. "I told Claire something," he said. Claire raised her cup. I was present. He glanced at her. "I told her I was wrong to blame her for what happened between us." I waited. "She should not have spoken to you the way she did," he continued. "But I asked her not to call. I made her responsible for keeping you away, and then I acted like she made that choice alone." Claire looked into her coffee. Daniel rubbed his thumb once, caught himself, and put both hands flat on his knees. "I'm sorry," he said. The room remained quiet. He looked at me. "Did you hear me?" "Yes." "You're not going to say anything?" "I'm deciding." Claire stood. "I'm going to ruin the dishes now." "You can stay," Daniel said. "I know." She carried the cups into the kitchen. Daniel waited until the faucet came on. "What are you deciding? Whether you're sorry I was hurt or sorry I stopped taking care of you?" "Both." I looked at him. "That sounded bad," he said. "It sounded honest. I missed your food. I missed you driving me. I missed not having to ask Owen to rearrange his life. I'm not going to pretend I discovered some pure version of myself that only misses your soul." Despite myself, I smiled. "But I'm sorry I hurt you," he said. "I'm sorry I decided your fear was something Claire should contain. I'm sorry I let you think she put your name outside the door by herself." I looked toward the kitchen. Claire stood at the sink with her back to us, washing the same plate for an unreasonable length of time. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. I was ashamed. Before or after I stopped helping? After. Again, honest. He leaned forward. "At the hospital, I thought I was going to die." My fingers tightened around my cup. "I didn't tell Claire that," he said. "I made jokes. I asked if they were sure it wasn't heartburn. Then they started shaving my wrist, and this man asked if I had a living will." I set down the coffee. "I thought about Dad," he continued. "I thought about you calling me when he was sick, and I remembered feeling helpless. I didn't want to feel that again. So you made me helpless." "I know." The faucet stopped. Claire returned and sat beside me. "He didn't tell me that part either." Daniel's face tightened. "I'm telling it now." She nodded. I wanted to reach for him. I kept my hands in my lap. "I'm glad you told me," I said. "Are we okay?" "No." He looked down. "We're better than we were," I added. Claire released a breath. Daniel nodded. "What do I do next? That cannot be another thing I manage for you." I was asking. "I know. Keep asking. Listen to the answer even if it isn't what you wanted." He glanced toward Claire. She lifted one eyebrow. "That would be refreshing." On the way out, Claire walked me to the door. "I meant my apology," she said. "I know. I also meant what I said about the socks. I know that too." "You like being needed?" "Yes." The admission surprised me less than it should have. Claire tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "If you go back to doing everything, he'll let you." "I know. And then he'll complain to me that you're doing too much." "I know. And I'll be the one who has to tell you." "You don't." She gave me a tired smile. "I'm learning." The following Tuesday, Daniel called and told me his treadmill speed had increased to 2 miles an hour. "Try not to cross state lines," I said. Wednesday, he called to ask whether a package had accidentally been delivered to my house. When I said no, he thanked me and hung up instead of inventing another reason to keep me on the phone. Friday, he called and said, "Claire is driving me crazy." I waited. He sighed. "Never mind. That belongs to me." "And Claire? Is there anything you want to tell me that isn't about her?" "I had oatmeal. That's terrible." It was. We spoke for 10 minutes about nothing important. He came by Saturday at 2 after calling first. He brought my father's socket set, though I reminded him it had belonged to his father. "I know," he said. "You called him Dad. So did you. Your version had a capital letter." He put the box in the garage exactly where he had found it. Then he came into the kitchen and sat at the table. "I don't need anything," he announced. "That sounds suspicious. I thought you should know. I poured coffee for 2. He noticed the old hinge still in the dish. "You kept it. It belonged to George Washington." He smiled, then traced a scratch in the tabletop. "Do you remember the night Dad died?" he asked. "Yes." "You called me 17 times. I did not." I checked the phone record later. My face warmed. I'm sorry, you were alone, so were you. I had Claire. You weren't married yet. She was there. I had forgotten that. Or perhaps I had never known. Daniel looked at me. I should have told you I was scared at the hospital. Yes. I should have let you come. Yes. His eyes filled before mine did. This time, when I reached across the table, he met me halfway. He held my hand for a minute, then let go on his own. I'm not asking you to make it disappear, he said. I know. For the first time, I believed him. We sat at the table until the coffee went cold. Daniel did not ask whether I had forgiven him again. I did not tell him I had. Forgiveness seemed too much like one of Claire's hospital updates. Stable, improving, more information later. Before he left, he opened the refrigerator. You still have 3 jars of my pickles. You bought them. You could throw them away. You could take them. He removed 1 jar, inspected the date, and put it back. I'll leave it here. Why? In case I'm hungry. You have a house. Your refrigerator has emotional significance. Take the pickles, Daniel. He took 1 jar. That became our pattern for a while. He took one thing at a time. He stopped arriving on Sundays without calling. I stopped treating every call as an attempt to use me. He asked whether I wanted to come for dinner the following week, and when I said Ruth and I had tickets to something involving movement, memory, and suspended fabric, he did not ask me to cancel. What does suspended fabric mean? He asked. I assume curtains. It sounds dangerous. With Ruth, it may be. Next Sunday? Ask me next week. He did. Sometimes I said yes. The first Sunday I returned, Daniel made chicken and forgot the salt entirely. Claire ate half her meal before getting up and bringing the shaker to the table. I thought we were protecting his heart, I said. I'm protecting my will to live. Daniel looked betrayed. You said it was good. It's warm. The second Sunday, I cooked at my house because I wanted to, not because anyone had appeared with salad and expectation. I told them dinner was at 6 and that I planned to leave the dishes until morning. Claire washed them anyway. Compulsion? I asked. Self-defense. Your sink makes noises at night. It's plumbing. It sounds judgmental. We were not friends. I did not know if we ever would be. But we became less like 2 women standing on opposite sides of Daniel and more like 2 people who could see him move between us. When he called to complain that Claire had hidden his work laptop, I asked, Is that your sentence or hers? He sighed. Mine. Then say it to her. I did. What happened? She gave it back. Problem solved. No, now I have to decide whether to use it. That sounds terrible. He hung up laughing. Claire called me the next day. I didn't hide it, she said. I assumed. He left it under a stack of newspapers. I also assumed that. He told me you advised him to confront me. I told him to talk to you. That is not how he presented it. You have now encountered Daniel. There was a pause. Then Claire laughed. The sound surprised both of us. Rehabilitation changed his body in small ways. Color returned to his face. His jeans fit again. He stopped using the gray pillow and returned it to the corner of the couch, where it became an ordinary pillow instead of equipment. But the skipped beats continued. He described them as a bird hitting a window inside his chest. They usually lasted only a second. Dr. Patel had said occasional palpitations could happen during recovery, especially with stress, caffeine, or certain medications. Daniel blamed the medication. Claire blamed the coffee. I blamed everything silently. Then, during a Wednesday rehabilitation session, the monitors caught something. Daniel called me at 11:17. Before you hear this from anyone else, he said, I'm okay. I sat down on the edge of my bed. What happened? My heart did the weird thing while I was on the bike. What weird thing? The bird. How long? Longer than usual. How much longer? Maybe 20 seconds. 20. I'm okay. Are you at the hospital? I'm at rehab. They stopped the session and called Dr. Patel. Claire is coming. Should I come? I don't know yet. The old answer would have sent me directly to the car. I gripped the bedspread. Do you want me to come? He hesitated. Not yet, he said. I wanted to tell you myself. All right, I'm going to Dr. Patel's office. I'll call when I know something. All right, Mom, yes? Thank you. The line went quiet. I remained on the bed staring at my slippers. Then I called Ruth. Daniel had an arrhythmia. What kind? I don't know. Is he at the hospital? No. Is Claire with him? She's going. Did he ask you to come? No. Ruth was silent. I'm staying here, I announced. I didn't tell you not to. I'm telling myself. Then I'm proud of you and concerned about your tone. I'm perfectly calm. You sound like someone holding a chair over her head. I looked at my hands. I need to do something. Clean your refrigerator again. I did that. Come paint my ceiling. I'm not that desperate. Ruth came to my house instead. She brought a deck of cards and cheated at gin rummy for 2 hours. At 1:30, Daniel called. They want me to wear a monitor for a week. What did Dr. Patel say? That the rhythm was abnormal but not immediately dangerous. It may be irritation from the heart attack. Maybe. They need more information. Are you coming here? No, Claire and I are going home. Do you need anything? No. I heard Claire say something. What did she say? She said, tell you the doctor isn't worried. Is she saying that for me or for herself? Claire took the phone. Both, she said. Her voice was steady, but I could hear traffic behind her and the uneven rhythm of the turn signal. Are you driving? I asked. We're parked. Where? Elaine. Sorry. She exhaled. He's all right. They're fitting the monitor tomorrow. We should know more next week. Thank you. I thought mothers waited for updates, Ruth called loudly from my kitchen table. Claire heard her. I'm going to hang up now, she said. I covered the phone. Ruth. What? Too soon? Claire laughed before the call ended. The monitor looked like a small white pebble taped to Daniel's chest. At Sunday dinner, he wore the receiver clipped to his belt and kept forgetting it was there. Halfway through dessert, it vibrated. All three of us froze. Daniel looked down. Low battery. Claire closed her eyes. I said, the bird needs charging. He laughed hard enough that the device shifted, and Claire had to help retape the edge. The results showed several short bursts of an abnormal rhythm. Dr. Patel referred Daniel to an electrophysiologist, Dr. Shaw, whose specialty sounded to me like she repaired haunted wiring. Daniel invited me to the appointment. Claire will be there, he said. You don't have to come. Do you want me there? Yes. Then I'll come. The office had chairs upholstered in a shade between maroon and old blood. Claire sat on Daniel's right. I sat on his left. Dr. Shaw explained that the rhythm appeared to originate in a small area of irritated heart tissue. It was treatable with medication, but because Daniel was symptomatic and the episodes were increasing, she recommended an electrophysiology study with a likely ablation. What does likely mean? I asked. It means we map the heart's electrical activity first, she said. If we confirm the source, we treat it during the same procedure. How? A catheter delivers energy to a very small area of tissue. What kind of energy? Daniel touched my arm. Mom. Dr. Shaw smiled. It's all right. She answered every question. She did not look at Claire for permission. She did not act as though my fear were an object someone had failed to remove from the room. Daniel listened too. That mattered more than the answers. The procedure would be scheduled for the following month at St. Matthew's. Daniel would arrive early, spend one night for observation, and likely go home the next morning. At the word St. Matthew's, my stomach tightened. Daniel noticed. We can ask for another hospital, he said. No. You sure? The building did nothing wrong. Dr. Shaw looked among us. Would you like a few minutes? We're fine, Claire said, then caught herself. Daniel. He nodded. We're fine. On the drive home, I sat in the back because Claire had driven and Daniel claimed the front seat on the grounds of cardiac seniority. You're 12 years old, Claire told him. I have the heart of a much older man. That isn't funny, I said. It was a little funny, Claire admitted. At my house, Daniel walked me to the door. I'm sorry, he said. For what? The hospital. You didn't choose the building. I know. Are you scared? He looked toward Claire's car. She was pretending not to watch us. Yes, I nodded. That's it? He asked. What would you like me to say? I don't know. Something motherly. Wear clean underwear. He laughed. Then I touched his cheek. You don't have to make me feel better about it. I know. I don't have to make you feel better either. That seems less useful. We can be scared at the same time. He looked at me for a long moment. I'd like you there. I will be. That night, I took out a casserole dish. I chopped onions, cooked rice, and shredded an entire chicken before realizing what I was doing. The dish on the counter could have fed Daniel and Claire for 3 days. A second container waited beside it. I stood with the wooden spoon in my hand, caught between old instinct and new embarrassment. Then I divided the food. I froze half for myself and called Daniel. I made chicken and rice, I said. Of course you did. Do you want some? Yes, I can bring it tomorrow. Thank you for asking. The answer irritated me, though I could not say why. The week before the procedure, Daniel called after midnight. I'm not having symptoms, he said immediately. I turned on the lamp. All right, I just can't sleep. Neither can I now. Sorry. I didn't say hang up. He was quiet. What are you thinking about? I asked. That room. Which room? The one before the catheterization. Everyone moving fast. Claire trying not to cry. I pulled the blanket around my shoulders. I kept thinking if I called you, you'd hear my voice and know how scared I was. I would have. I didn't want you to know. I know. That was selfish. Yes. I thought you were supposed to argue. I'm sleepy. He laughed softly. Then he said, when they give us the admission information, I'll send it to you myself. All right. Hospital, time, floor, everything. You don't have to prove anything. I'm not proving it. What are you doing? Asking you to come through the front door this time. I closed my eyes. All right, I said again. Neither of us hung up. We stayed on the line in the dark, listening to each other breathe. Daniel fell asleep first. I could tell because his breathing deepened, and every few minutes he made a faint clicking sound with his tongue. He had done that since he was young. His father used to call it Daniel's Midnight Morse Code. I kept the phone against my ear until the line disconnected. At 3:14 the following afternoon, a message arrived. St. Matthew's, Monday, check-in at 5:30 a.m., Cardiac Procedure Center, 5th floor, observation room 526 afterward. Dr. Shaw says the room could change, but that's the one assigned. A second message followed. I want you there. I read the room number 3 times. Then I wrote, I will be. Claire called that evening. Did he send you everything? Yes. The room might change. He said that. Parking is easier on the east side before 6. I know where to park. I know you know where to park. We both heard the sentence. Claire cleared her throat. I meant the east entrance opens earlier than the main one. Thank you. He added you to the hospital contact list. I leaned against the kitchen counter. He told me he would. He did it himself. That shouldn't sound remarkable. No. But it does. Yes. Neither of us tried to make more of it. On Sunday, Ruth brought me a banana with my name written across the peel in permanent marker. What is this? Loss prevention. You came to my house to label fruit? I also brought crackers. I opened the paper bag she handed me. Inside were 2 packs of peanut butter crackers, a bottle of water, tissues, and a paperback mystery with a woman in a red coat on the cover. I have a purse, I said. Your purse contains expired mints and 17 receipts. Those receipts are organized by geological period. I set the supplies on the table. Do you want me to go with you? She asked. No. Daniel invited Claire and me. That wasn't my question. I'll call if I need you. She nodded, then inspected my clothes. I had laid navy pants, a white blouse, and the green cardigan across the back of a chair. You're wearing the murder librarian sweater. Daniel likes it. I thought this was about your independence. I can be independent in green. Ruth picked up the cardigan and folded it over the chair more neatly. Call me when he's out. I will. And if someone takes your banana, create a scene. I thought I was supposed to cooperate. That was the old you. I slept less than 3 hours. At 4:15, I gave up and got dressed. I made coffee, but poured half of it down the sink because my hands were shaking. The banana fit badly in my purse, so I placed it on top where the black letters Elaine faced upward like evidence. The hospital parking garage looked different in the dark, though it was the same concrete, the same arrows, the same cold white lights. I parked directly between 2 lines. At the east entrance, a security guard checked my name against a visitor list. Elaine Mercer, I said. He found it immediately. 5th floor, Cardiac Procedure Center. No questions. No purple peppermint. No designated contact standing between me and the elevator. I thanked him too many times. The 5th floor was quieter than I remembered. Down one hall, I recognized the nurse's station where Marisol had stood with Daniel's pills. The procedure center was in the opposite direction behind a set of glass doors. Claire sat alone in the reception area holding 2 paper cups. Her hair was twisted neatly, but she had buttoned her coat wrong. "He's checking in," she said. They only let one person go to the desk. I sat beside her. She handed me one of the cups. Tea. "You remembered." "I remember things. I know." The tea was too hot to drink. I held it between my palms. Daniel emerged wearing a plastic band around his wrist and carrying a folder. "Look who has paperwork," he said. Claire stood. "What did they say?" "That I have an excellent insurance card." "What did they say about the procedure?" "Nothing yet." "Did you tell them about the aspirin?" "I gave them the medication list." "Which one?" "The one in the portal." "Did it include Claire?" She stopped. Daniel looked at me. "Hi, Mom." "Hi." He leaned down and kissed my cheek. "Your coat is buttoned wrong," he told Claire. She looked down. "I know." "You didn't know." "I know now." A nurse opened the glass doors and called, "Daniel Mercer." All 3 of us stood. The nurse was a broad-shouldered man named Kevin. He checked Daniel's wristband, then looked at Claire and me. "I can bring 2 support people back until we start preparing him." "My wife and my mother," Daniel said. Kevin nodded. "Both are listed." Daniel glanced at me. The gesture was small. He did not smile or wait for praise. He simply made sure I had heard. We followed Kevin to a curtained bay. A hospital gown and a clear bag sat on the bed. Daniel inspected the gown. "Does this close in the back?" "In theory," Kevin said. "What does that mean?" "It means optimism is part of our mission." I liked him immediately. Kevin explained how Daniel should change and where to place his clothes. Claire listened with her whole body. I could see questions lining up behind her eyes. "We'll step out," she said. "Mom gave me underwear advice," Daniel told Kevin. I stared at him. I said, "Wear clean underwear." Kevin nodded seriously. "Sound medical guidance." Claire pulled the curtain before Daniel could continue. While he changed, she retied her hair twice. "Did you sleep?" I asked. "No. Did he?" "Eventually. He called me." "I know. Did he tell you?" I was beside him when he called. Then I went downstairs. I looked at her. "He wanted to talk to you alone," she said. "Were you angry?" "A little." "Thank you for going downstairs. I ate cereal over the sink. It wasn't noble." The curtain moved. "You can come in," Daniel said. He sat on the edge of the bed in the gown and blue socks. I looked down. "What?" he asked. "Nothing. They're good socks. They're ugly. You brought them." "Yes." Kevin returned to start an intravenous line. Daniel looked away as the needle went in. Claire watched the needle. I watched Daniel's left thumb begin rubbing his palm. Dr. Shaw arrived just after 6. She wore navy scrubs and carried a tablet. She explained the procedure again. Catheters through the vessels near Daniel's groin, electrical mapping, sedation, and ablation if they located the abnormal pathway. It should take 2 to 3 hours. "Should?" Claire asked. "Every heart maps differently." "What happens if you can't trigger the rhythm?" I asked. "We may not ablate anything today. And if you can trigger it, but it's near something important, we stop if the risk is too high." What kind of risk? Daniel looked at me. I stopped. Dr. Shaw waited without impatience. Do you want me to ask? I said to him. Yes. So I did. Dr. Shaw answered. Bleeding, infection, damage to normal electrical tissue, rare complications involving the heart or blood vessels. She explained that the team would watch him closely and that the expected benefit outweighed those risks. I wrote nothing down. Claire wrote everything. When Dr. Shaw left, Daniel said, That went well. You have a strange standard, Claire replied. No one cried. I can correct that. Kevin gave Daniel a mild sedative through the intravenous line. Within minutes, his face softened. Oh, Daniel said. What? I asked. I understand why people like drugs. Claire laughed despite herself. The orderly arrived with a transport bed. Kevin lowered the rails and helped Daniel shift over. This is the glamorous part, Daniel said. You're wearing blue wool socks with a hospital gown, Claire told him. The glamour left hours ago. The orderly unlocked the wheels. Daniel reached toward us. Claire took his right hand. I took his left. I'm scared, he said. The sedative had removed his ability to disguise it. I know, Claire said. So am I told him. He looked at me. You're supposed to say it'll be fine. I believe it will be. That's not the same. No. His thumb moved against my fingers. Will you both be here? He asked. Yes, Claire said. Yes, I said. Upstairs? We'll be in the waiting area. You won't go downstairs? The question was meant for me. No, I said. Not unless I want terrible coffee. His eyes filled. Claire leaned over and kissed him. I touched his cheek. Kevin raised the rail. Time to go. The bed rolled through the double doors. Daniel kept looking back until the hallway turned. Claire and I stood with our hands hanging uselessly at our sides. A receptionist directed us to the waiting area. It had the same television, the same bolted chairs, and the same coffee smell as every hospital waiting room in the world. A screen on the wall listed anonymous patient numbers and statuses. Daniel had been assigned 1147. At 6:42, the word preparation appeared beside it. Both our phones vibrated. Patient has entered the procedure area. The care team will provide another update when available. I looked at Claire. She held up her phone. Same message. The fact should not have mattered. It did. We sat side by side beneath a window facing the parking garage. Claire removed her coat and discovered the button error again. You could fix it, I said. I'm leaving it as a record of my mental state. I opened my purse. The banana had split near the stem and marked the lining with a pale smear. Claire stared at the black letters across the peel. Did you label your banana? Ruth did. Why? Someone stole the last one. At this hospital? Yes. That's horrible. It was a banana. It was yours. We ate the crackers instead. At 7:30, the screen changed to procedure in progress. At 8:15, there was no update. At 8:40, Claire stood and walked to the window. It's been 2 hours. They said 2 to 3, I know. At 9, she went to the desk and asked whether anyone had heard from the procedure room. The receptionist said no news was normal. Claire returned and sat. Do you want me to tell you to calm down? I asked. No. Good. At 9:17, both phones vibrated again. Claire read it twice. Stable, she said. Yes. She placed the phone on her knee. That first night, I received a message like this while you were downstairs. I looked at her. I didn't send it to you, she continued. I told myself I was following what Daniel wanted. Really, I was angry that you had come anyway. I would always have come. I know. You could have brought me up. I know. She rubbed at a spot on her coat. I thought if you saw him, he would reach for you, and I would become the person standing beside the bed holding his paperwork. He reached for me when I did see him. I know. He reached for you, too. Not in the same way. I considered denying it, then did not. I liked that he needed me differently, I said. Claire looked at me. I made it easy for him to leave things with me, I continued. Maybe too easy. That doesn't excuse what he did. No, it doesn't excuse me. No. She nodded. At 10, patient 1147 still showed procedure in progress. The receptionist called the procedure room again. She told us Dr. Shaw was completing the ablation and would speak to us soon. Completing sounded promising. Soon became 20 minutes, then 30. Claire paced between the window and the coffee machine. I remained seated because if I stood, I knew I would join her. At 10:42, the double doors opened. Dr. Shaw walked toward us, pulling a blue surgical cap from her hair. Claire reached me before I realized I had stood. We faced the doctor together. "We found the abnormal pathway," she said. "The ablation was successful, and Daniel is doing very well." Claire made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "Thank God," she said. Her knees seemed to give slightly. I caught her elbow, and she caught mine, leaving us propped against each other like two damaged pieces of furniture. Dr. Shaw explained that the procedure had taken longer because the abnormal pathway was difficult to trigger consistently. Once they mapped it, the ablation itself had been straightforward. Daniel was awake in recovery and asking whether the staff had remembered his socks. "That sounds like him," I said. "He'll need to lie flat for several hours," Dr. Shaw continued. "His heart rhythm looks normal. Assuming the access site remains stable, he'll go to room 526 this afternoon and home tomorrow. Can it come back?" I asked. "There's a small chance, but I'm pleased with the result." Claire took out her phone as if she had not spent the entire morning holding it. "What should we watch for?" Dr. Shaw answered her questions, then mine. Neither of us interrupted the other. When the doctor left, Claire sat down hard. I remained standing because I was not yet convinced my legs could bend. "He's okay," she said. "Yes." "He's okay." "Yes." She covered her face with both hands. Her shoulders shook once. I sat beside her. Claire did not cry the way I did. My crying involved tissues, apologies, and a firm belief that I was inconveniencing everyone. Claire cried silently, almost angrily, wiping each tear away as soon as it appeared. I handed her the tissues Ruth had packed. "Thank you." Ruth brought them. Of course she did. Our phones vibrated together. "Procedure complete. Patient has entered recovery. A member of the care team will contact you when visitation is available." Claire looked at my screen, then hers. "Still the same message," she said. "Good." We waited another hour. At noon, a recovery nurse came for us. She introduced herself as Paige and checked both our names against a tablet. "Mr. Mercer approved 2 visitors," she said. "He was very specific." Claire looked at me. "I had nothing to do with that," I said. "I know." Daniel lay beneath a white blanket in a narrow recovery bay. His blue socks had been removed and placed in a clear bag beside the bed. Electrodes dotted his chest and his hair stuck up in several directions. His eyes opened when we entered. "Did it work?" he asked. "It worked," Claire said. He looked at me. She said it worked. I heard. "Good." His eyes closed again. Claire went to the right side of the bed. I stopped near the foot, unsure where I belonged until Daniel lifted his left hand. "Mom." I took it. Paige checked the dressing near his hip and reminded him not to raise his head. "Can I sit up a little?" he asked. "No." "What about a tiny amount?" "No." "Is this a negotiation?" "It is not." He looked toward me. "I like her." "You like anyone who sounds like Claire." Claire adjusted his blanket. "That explains your marriage." Paige smiled while recording his blood pressure. Daniel turned his head slightly. "Did they tell you the room?" 526, did you have to ask Claire? "No." "Good." The word was heavy with sedation and relief. Paige looked up from the monitor. "Your wife is listed as primary contact. Your mother is also authorized for updates." Daniel blinked at her. "Both." "Yes. If she asks a lot of questions, answer them." "Daniel," I said. He ignored me. "She worries." Paige nodded. "Most people in this building do." I made it sound like that was a problem. His words slurred slightly. I tightened my hand around his. "You don't have to do this now. Did it wrong before." "I know. Doing it right." Claire looked away, pressing her fingers beneath one eye. Paige finished her notes and left us with strict instructions not to let Daniel lift his head. He immediately tried to lift his head. "Stop," Claire and I said together. He dropped it back onto the pillow. "This is going to be difficult." "For everyone," Claire said. A little after 2, they moved him to room 526. The room was smaller than the one he had occupied after the heart attack. One chair sat beside the bed. Another had been pushed against the far wall beneath the television. Claire set Daniel's bag on the window ledge, picked up the far chair, and carried it to my side of the bed. She did not look at me while she did it. "Thank you," I said. "I don't want to shout across the room." "I understand. No, you don't." She smiled faintly and sat on Daniel's right. I sat on his left. His charger was plugged into the wall behind her, the white cord coiled neatly on the bedside table. The blue socks remained in their clear bag. Claire had packed both without asking me. Daniel slept for nearly an hour. Every so often, a nurse came in to check his heart rhythm and the bandage near his hip. Each time, the nurse spoke to Daniel first, even when his answers made no sense. When asked to rate his pain, he said, "Vermont." The nurse glanced at us. "He's never been good at numbers," I said. "I'm excellent at numbers," Daniel muttered. "Vermont is a 3. The nurse recorded 3. When he was more alert, she reviewed the overnight restrictions. No getting out of bed without assistance, no bending, no lifting. Keep the legs straight. Drink water. Claire reached for the printed instructions. Daniel took them first. "I'll hold those," he said. "You're drugged," she replied. "I can still own paper." Claire released it. He read the first line twice, then handed the pages to her. "Now you can hold them." "Thank you. It was my decision. I'm proud of you." He looked at me. "She's mocking me." "That belongs to you and Claire." His mouth lifted. At 4, I called Ruth from the hallway. "Well?" she demanded. "He's in room 526. It worked. Did you get the room number from Claire? Daniel sent it yesterday." Ruth was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Good. The banana survived. I'm less concerned about the banana. You wrote my name on it. That was preventive." "I know. Are you staying the night?" I looked through the partly open door. Claire was helping Daniel drink from a cup with a straw. One hand supported the cup. The other rested against his shoulder. "No," I said. "Does he want you to?" "I haven't asked. You don't have to sleep in a lobby to prove anything, I know." This time I did. Visiting hours ended at 8. At 7:30, Claire went downstairs for coffee, leaving Daniel and me alone. The room had darkened around the bed. His monitor glowed green against the wall. "You can go home," he said. "I was planning to." He turned his head. "You were? It's late. You stayed last time." "I stayed downstairs because I was trying to get inside." His face tightened. I touched his hand. "That wasn't meant to hurt you." "I know. Claire will be here. You have nurses. I will come tomorrow if you want me. If you have plans, you don't have to." "Daniel." "What?" "That is not the same as answering." He looked at the ceiling. "Yes," he said. "I want you to come tomorrow." "I will." "At 9? "I'll come at 10. "Why 10? "Because I'm not getting up at 6 for hospital eggs." He smiled. "Bring coffee, ask your wife. She says I can't have any, then listen to your wife. You're both impossible. Hereditary." His fingers closed around mine. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Thank you for asking." Claire returned holding 2 cups. She gave one to me. "Tea," she said. "You remembered again." I continue to remember things. I drank half of it, kissed Daniel, and put on my cardigan. At the door, I looked back. Claire had moved into my chair because it was closer to the intravenous pump. My empty chair sat on Daniel's left, still beside the bed. No one had pushed it back to the wall. I drove home and slept 6 uninterrupted hours. The next morning, I arrived at 10 with coffee for myself, tea for Claire, and nothing Daniel was forbidden to drink. "You've become cruel," he said. "I brought your glasses. They were in the bag, I know. Then you brought nothing." "I brought myself." He looked at me for a second, then smiled. "That's enough." Dr. Shaw discharged him shortly after noon. She addressed the instructions to Daniel. Claire and I listened without taking over. He asked about returning to rehabilitation, driving and going back to work. No driving for 3 days. No lifting for a week. Rehabilitation could resume the following Monday. Work could wait until after his checkup. Daniel nodded and asked for the instructions in writing. "They're already in your hand," Claire said. He looked down at the papers. "Excellent." Claire drove him home. I followed in my own car, but I did not go inside. In the driveway, Daniel lowered the passenger window. "Are you coming in? Do you need me?" "No." "Do you want me?" "Yes." I considered it. "I'll stay for an hour. Deal." Inside, Claire helped him settle onto the couch. The gray pillow was back beneath his shoulders. I warmed soup while Daniel organized his medications into the plastic container he had once expected me to manage. Claire watched him put Tuesday's pills into Wednesday. "That's wrong," she said. He checked the bottle. "It is." He corrected it himself. I served the soup and left after 1 hour, even though part of me wanted to fold their laundry, make dinner, and remain until every possible danger had passed. Daniel walked me to the door slowly. "Call if you need something," I said. "I will, and if you don't need anything, I will." He kept both promises. The ablation held. His heart stayed in rhythm through the rest of rehabilitation, then through his gradual return to work. He called after his checkups before Claire sent any messages, not because I demanded priority, but because he had learned that information could be a form of care. Sometimes he forgot. Once I learned from Owen that Daniel had completed his first full week back at the office. The old anger rose instantly. Then Daniel called that evening. "I forgot to tell you," he said. "I heard." "From Owen?" "Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you." No argument, no explanation about being busy. The hurt lasted 5 minutes instead of 5 days. Sunday dinners changed shape. Some weeks they came to my house. Some weeks I went to theirs. Some Sundays I told them I already had plans, and Daniel said, "Have fun," without sounding as if I had violated a family treaty. Claire and I still irritated each other. She thought I stored leftovers too long. I thought she bought tomatoes without smelling them first. But when Daniel complained about one of us to the other, we sent him back to the person he was talking about. Once he called me after an argument with Claire and began, "You will not believe what she—" I interrupted. "Does this belong to me?" He sighed. "No. Good night." 5 minutes later, Claire texted, "Thank you." I wrote, "He's yours." She replied, "Unfortunately." Months after the procedure, Daniel came over on a Sunday afternoon carrying the 3rd jar of pickles from my refrigerator. "You took those without asking," I said. "I bought them. They were in my house. I can put them back. They're probably expired." He checked the date. "Yesterday. Throw them out. You first." He placed the jar in the trash, then washed his hands and opened the cabinet above the counter. The repaired door swung smoothly. "Still good," he said. "I check it sometimes." 5 times? 2. Claire arrived a few minutes later with the salad I did not like. Daniel took it from her. "Mom hates this." Claire stared at me. For 6 years. I was polite. "You could have told me. I'm learning." Claire looked at the salad, then at Daniel. "What are we supposed to eat?" "There's chicken in the oven," I said. "Dinner is at 6. Daniel checked the clock. "It's 5:20. You're early." I called. "You did." He set the table while Claire opened a bottle of sparkling water. I started to carry the serving bowl, but Daniel took it from my hands. "I can lift things now," he said. "I know. I'm helping. I know." He placed the bowl in the center of the table without spilling anything. After dinner, Daniel washed the dishes. Claire dried. I sat with my coffee and resisted correcting the way he loaded the dishwasher. At the door, he held up a container of leftover chicken. "Can I take this?" "Yes. Thursday dinner at our house. What are you making?" "Reservations. I'll check my schedule." He nodded. "Call me tomorrow. I will." Daniel kissed my cheek. Claire hugged me. A quick, slightly awkward embrace that neither of us discussed. They walked to the car together. Before getting in, Daniel looked back toward the house. I raised one hand. He raised his. Then he went home carrying only what he had asked to take.